late tonight. People still love me.
They do that.
It's because they know the Hot Mess Show is it's well intended, if not well planned.
You know, if they loved you before, they usually stay that way.
This is true.
In this personal branding class, I'm trying to let people know that like your brand can be a hot mess. You know, like you don't have to try and make it perfect. Like,
yeah, no, it's human when it's
you just have to be consistent in how you roll. You know, and they're all like, oh.
Totally, I love that. Okay, all right. So let's see. Hold on, Twitch is playing an ad. Okay, sorry. So we're still audio testing. I can't wait to hear about ad school and all the stuff you're doing. I'm so excited. All right, so personal branding sounds cool. I don't want to ask you questions yet, and I want to ask you questions.
I get it. You're really restraining yourself well. Like I appreciate the.
Okay, so I'm a little loud, so let me turn my microphone down. Okay, and then turn you up a little. All right, can you just do a little test talking for me, Lenny?
So the weather here is actually pretty chill. I still have tomatoes that are harvesting.
Nice.
But I'm really quite surprised with how well our watermelon patch is still doing.
Oh, I'm super jealous on the watermelon. All right.
Okra is finally dying back.
The okra?
The okra stuff is prolific.
Oh yeah, that's it's almost unstoppable, that stuff.
I will never plant this many plants again.
I'm super jealous. This year I totally bombed my garden. I will get into that a bit. It was just too many things, and I mean, totally bombed. I probably did better than most people, but like it's still like for the amount of like prep work and stuff that I do and what I typically get out of a yield, like it was abysmal. But that's okay. You can't do everything. I'm having to find this out in my...
Yeah, no, you really have to plant. Like, even he and I are having this, like, a lot of things got deferred because we took this project on and then we were like, oh shit, this is taking so much time, like, to keep it going. But we were so invested in it that we weren't willing to bail on it. Like, we were willing to bail on other stuff just to keep, like, it going.
All right, well, let's launch this because we'll definitely get into that too. All right, yeah, we're a little late. Okay, all right, here we go, Lenny. All right, hey everybody, welcome back to For the Love of Creativity. This is only our second episode in this unique format that we've set up here, and tonight we have Lennie Gray Mowris. As you guys know, you guys saw the ads today, hopefully, and all that sort of stuff. So excited to have you here, Lennie. So, for those of you that don't know Lennie, I'm going to read her bio if I can find that on one of these four monitors. So, here we go. Lennie has a design practice that is rooted in principles of identity design, brand development, communication strategy, sustainability, and social responsibility. It's a pretty powerful statement in itself. Her facilitation work is centered in the understanding that we are all unique, we are all unique perspectives falling on a spectrum of identity and experience. So her sessions are designed to build empathy and creative confidence while fostering clear communication to simplify the process of socially sustainable creativity. Wow, you want to break some of that down for us, Lennie?
I help people. It's funny. I help people get to the point, even though that doesn't seem like that's how that paragraph is structured. There's a lot going on, right? The world is a hot mess, and a lot of people are lost in the sauce, confused about how to engage that space, right? You have a lot of well-meaning people that don't know where the boundaries are anymore. You have a lot of people getting a grip on identity politics and new identity terms and like trying to understand, but a lot of people falling through the cracks. And it disrupting team dynamics and it disrupting branding campaigns and advertising campaigns, and it's fostering this idea of cancel culture, and a lot of my work is centered around helping people smooth those edges out and creating a safe space for honest conversations around all of this complicated stuff, so that it's like part education and part skill development.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a beautiful thing, Lenny. I mean, I can speak from experience that, like, I'm a well-meaning, nice guy that loves everybody, and I'm from the country of Virginia, and sometimes I just say some dumb shit that, like, I wasn't trying to hurt anybody's feelings. That's just the culture I grew up in, you know? Yeah. Yeah.
Or you're just not culturally aware enough, or you don't realize. And on the and the person on the receiving end of that, to be completely honest, is just tired of being like there. A lot of people don't understand how much grace is being given to them all the time, or how much patience and compassion is actually being bestowed to people who are empowered to do a little bit better, to have a little bit more empathy, right? Or to try and understand other points of view. And there's this drive to get it right. And sometimes that forces us to get it wrong a little bit too. Like, we lose our humanity in it a little bit.
Yeah. The pendulum swings too far in the other way, you know? It's like, hey, the shit went too far. Like, let's find the middle, right?
How do we get people to a place of acknowledgement and acceptance and understanding and shared awareness, and then also, like, co-create new strategies coming out of that are environmentally responsible and socially sustainable? Like, because when you can actually do that, if you can actually get that recipe right, then you also get these really positive and impactful outcomes. And getting to see the results of that work is really inspiring, because it reminds you that, like, when we work together and we understand how to communicate effectively with one another, then we can actually, like, use our craft of creativity, whatever it is, to influence cultures and systems and practices in the world.
I love it.
I'd like to facilitate around those kinds of discussions.
It's such a noble cause, Lenny, and I think there is few people better than you for the job. So I'm glad that you found yourself in that space. Awesome. Can you still hear me all right? I switched up my audio a little bit. No! Lenny's frozen. We'll see if she makes it back. First time we've had a frozen guest, although it's not the first time it's ever happened on a video chat. Let me ping her real fast. How's everybody doing? Who do we have here on the chat tonight, on the old stream? We'll see if Lenny will make it back here shortly. Hey, welcome back.
Okay, that was interesting.
Yeah, shit happens. That's the technological world we live in. So.
You know, the wonders of our universe.
And the audio started off way too easy this time for me, so like that we had to have something mess up. That's just, you know, it never goes in smooth right into the show. It just doesn't happen.
I'm teaching a hybrid class now, which is an interesting experience of having like half of my class not in the room and half of my class in the room.
Oh, weird, yeah.
Like, I have students, because if you're in Atlanta, then you come to the Atlanta campus, and if you're not in Atlanta, like, I have a student in New York and a student in Detroit who, like, video into the same class, and the setup they have for this is really cool, but it is a whole new way of facilitating information.
Sure.
But I'm adapting. And, you know, one day, like, the monitors just weren't working, and that's, you know, that was a class that I have, like, 9 students who video in, and so it was just, like, it was a problem that needed to be solved. The class was not going to be present. It's an interesting world, this whole COVID space.
Yeah.
I'm starting to translate so much more of my work to interactive online media, because that's just how things are going. When I was first entering into facilitation spaces, everything was in person.
Yeah.
And the world shut down, and I was like, oh. And at first it was like, I was waiting for the world to come back, and then I realized the world was just never really going to come back that way, and then I had to adapt, like, my processes. So it's been nice to jump some learning curves and find new methods to do the thing that I do.
I love it. You got to adapt and just keep making, Just keep evaluating and moving. It's adapting. Yeah, there's no other
Well,
options.
I appreciate there are lots of really smart people out there also trying to solve the same problems. So,
Sure.
creating systems for people like me to fall into. Kudos to all the app developers out there, like software developers that are creating these platforms. I feel like they're a level of genius way beyond me. So,
Yeah, and then this whole new lane that we're going to get into tonight a little more is talking about this AI, where like all of that gloriousness of coding is now scrubbing the internet for visual creativity. Have you played with any of this yet?
I haven't. But I do have. I have people in my life close to the AI space. My nephew codes for AI. For a long time, has been working in biotech, and found out that he actually wrote the code for the robots that ran the robots that did the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines for COVID. So he didn't know at the time. He made the code for the machines way before the vaccines were on the table, but those were the robots that he used that he programmed for. And I met his partner recently, who's incredible, and is a world leader in the ethics for AI.
Ooh.
Fascinating conversation.
No kidding. No kidding.
Yeah, has like a PhD in philosophy, and then also has a degree in code, and combined that into a profession of the ethical governance of AI programming. And I was like, that's fascinating to me. Like, there's so much happening in this world, between augmented realities and AI art and graphics and AI media, and like it is an insane world, especially for someone like me who's like a vintage printmaker and like for old world way.
So you don't have a lot of NFTs yet, Lenny?
No, I just I have a hand in like both sides of the spectrum on this, but I'm definitely more rooted in the like old world traditional methods of doing things. And so I see all of this new stuff, and there is a part of me that's like, oh, kids these days, like it just makes me feel like an old lady.
Those whippersnappers and their computer
like,
stuff.
Well, back in my day when I made art, like it's so weird to be like, to know that I get really excited about something that's so antiquated that most people don't even know what it is, and where the world is going is like makes what I do just feel irrelevant. So, but I find it fascinating. I love talking to people about their different experiences with AI, because now we're making it do so many different things.
For sure. For sure.
So I'm interested. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this, because I wanted to see what the AI produces on the other side of this conversation. That was interesting to me.
Cool. Well, let's start playing with that, and I'll start asking you some questions. And let's see. I have to switch up the screen here. Do a little screen share with you. Present your entire screen. I'm going to present this screen. I'm going to move this guy up to here, and I'm going to talk through this all out loud, because that's what old people do. So I'm getting qualified these days, I feel like.
Oh, I'm definitely qualified. I work around people who are so much younger than me, and I'm like, oh, wow, kids.
Kids these days.
Kids these days.
Good times.
They are into things I don't even understand.
I just closed everything. I don't even know what happened.
I'm effectively outdated, and I don't mind. I'm just fine with it.
Yeah. Well, look, there's a wisdom we carry from our generation. I believe you and I are both qualified as geriatric millennials, so we grew up in the budding of the technological.
I'm the bottom end of Gen Z.
Oh, really? Well, you're 41, aren't you?
I am almost 42.
Oh, sorry. Is that like still a faux pas? I don't know. I don't ascribe to some of those.
It's not for me. Well, I don't care about anything. Like, I have those kinds of. And so, I'm the very last. I'm like scraping the barrel of Gen X.
Yeah.
I'm scraping the barrel of Gen X, and I'm in that like liminal space between Gen Xers and millennials. Where most of my influence came from Gen Xers, I definitely, because I had older brothers, I was the youngest. A lot of my influence, like, and identity came from the older people around me.
Sure. So that really defines your a lot about like your generational connection as well.
Yeah,
I've
I'm
seen
much
that
more
a lot too.
connected to the Gen Xers than I am to anybody else.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I mean, it makes sense. Uh, I do often have moments where like the 90s are nostalgic for some people, and that's weird for me because that was like my life.
Sure.
Like
That makes sense.
like I meet people now who like weren't really like conscious through the 90s, and they really love like Nine Inch Nails, and like they get really like, oh my god, oh my music, and I'm like, your music. Like I actually have that moment where I'm like, wait a minute, like I actually remember when this album dropped. Like I feel like it's like, and so it's funny to me to like realize that I'm old enough now that the rock music of my age is now like classic rock. Like I actually have found it listed on streaming radio stations as
classic rock. Yeah, that's it.
rock, and it's like, oh wow. Like when Alice in Chains becomes classic rock, the world has changed, like for me. So
I feel you on that. I think I saw that a few times when some of my even like some of the like the Metallica stuff that's not that old and like stuff like that. But you're the same exact age as my wife, which is funny because she has a lot of the same sentiments. We've had these conversations, which is funny.
it's
All right.
funny to me when like when you're 20 something, kids around you are like super into Soundgarden, being like, man, have you heard this? And I'm like, yeah, I get it. Y'all are awesome.
All right, I'm gonna switch off my camera so I can put it on the stream. So you can pull up the stream if you still want to see me jabbering. Otherwise, you'll still be able to hear me. As I haven't set it up. I need to do a different setup on this, and I was trying to figure that out. And it was just getting too many layers. I should have did that before the stream. So let's see. Can I make this work now? Sorry, everybody. I'm still getting all this together. One of these days, this will just be seamless. Let's see.
No, I have a problem with overthinking things.
Yeah.
Trying to do everything perfect before I start, but then I don't do anything. I don't release stuff. Like it holds me back. So I appreciate the rapid prototyping because it's something I'm reminding myself of all the time. Like just do it. Like just do whatever you've got available to you. Just go out and run with it and keep refining it and making it better.
Yeah, just I have like an 80% rule for me. Like 80% like, do it. Like let's go,
You've got something that just go for it and, build up over time. I think it's important for creative people to see the practice and the process. For so long, like we only ever saw finished work, and it was all the ooh and the ah, and they didn't see like all the weird stuff that happens in the middle.
The wabi sabi. Have you heard this word? I love this.
The hot mess that is true creativity.
Yes, for sure.
I appreciated showing that aspect of it, and like I would always show like my worst work, like on my way to something good, and people are like telling me they were inspired by the fact that I was willing to show things that were like deliberately unfinished, and I was like, I think it's important for people to realize that that's where it starts.
Right. Yep. It's totally important for that, and they'll get it eventually.
It starts at a blank page and a pretty crappy sketch, and then you keep pulling the lines in until you figure something out. But we don't do enough of that. Like we show people our masterful process. I think it intimidates a lot of people from trying to be creative.
It really does. I'm with you on that. All right, I'm destroying my whole live stream here. Screen grab. All right, whatever. I'm gonna. God, I want to fix this. It's annoying me now. Let's see. All right, so I'm just gonna ask you my first question, and I'll pop something into the AI down here too. So, here's the AI chat, and while we're talking, my first question is always, what made you say yes to coming on my little show?
I always really love talking to you.
Oh, thanks.
Ever since the day we met.
Yeah.
We've always had really good conversations.
For sure. We met at AIGA. Well, the first time we met, you don't remember meeting me because you were hosting a national retreat and like it was wild. So, I want to see here. I'm gonna just type in Lennie Gray, Mowris. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's do.
You got it.
Let's do render of Lennie Gray Mowris. Let's just see what that produces, just for fun. All right, so this is it. So this is the interface with Midjourney Bot. So you go to midjourney.com, you click on join the beta. All you have to do is have a Discord account set up, and it'll drop you into this. And then you just have to read the user manual on how to punch in codes to this little bot here, and it just generates stuff. So apparently Lennie Gray Mowris is a man tonight, so that's
totally a dude,
yeah.
which absolutely fits. Like that's the first half of my life.
Yep.
It took people a while to realize Lennie can be a girl's name. It's still a problem. Although, I don't know, I identify as non-binary, so it probably fits.
Yeah, it works.
I'm always somewhere in the middle. My clothes are better than these guys.
Agreed, for sure. These guys, they're definitely dated.
They're definitely dated. I have much better fashion sense, and I'm glad I don't have this 5 o'clock shadow thing going.
Yeah, that wouldn't be the best look for you, for sure.
I don't think that would be a great look for me.
But... I don't think your man's into that, for sure.
No, you know what? It's fine. Like, I've been called sir probably more times than I've been called miss or ma'am. So.
I grew up having really long hair, and my son has long hair, and it happens all the time. It's quite funny. So
it's interesting that like that's the metric for most people.
It is.
The concept of identity stops at how long your hair is, and it really messes with them. But now it's like super cool, and I see bald chicks all the time.
Yeah.
And it's funny because even one woman, she was like, "Oh, I love your hair. It's so trendy now." And I was like, "Oh man, I've been doing this over 20 years. Like, this is not trendy. Like,
I'm not trying to be trendy.
I'm trying to be trendy. I'm just trying to not spend any money on my hair."
Dude, yes, low budget hairstyles.
Like,
it's so.
Like, I don't do it. There's no time, and there's basically no money invested in this, and there's no plastic bottles, and there's no, like, nobody thinks about the sustainability of it.
Yeah, it's
a long-term non-investment. I did, like, a calculation on the average amount of money that a woman will spend on her hair within a year, and calculated that over the span of my lifetime. You know, most women spend, like, $50,000 to $75,000 at minimum on their hair.
Oh.
And I was like, that's a lot of money. I can not have it, and I can work less so I don't have to try and afford it, or I can have more cash at my disposal.
Right.
And still be cute. You know, like I feel like it's a win.
It's definitely a win. I was thinking about that just the other day, and look, I finally solved my little problem here, guys. Sorry, I was being a hot mess with my screen grab, and I'll get back focused on the show. But yeah, I was thinking about that today. Like, people talk about like all these like Harry's Shave Club and like all this shit, and it's like I change my razor like once a year, and I shave my head twice a week for like 15 minutes. It's really like, I don't understand why it's such a monumental thing, and it's like so expensive or whatever. Like, it's just crazy.
No, it's like the cheapest thing ever. I shave my head every full moon and every new moon.
Oh, cool.
On a 2-week cycle.
I love that.
It's like a little ritual that I can keep for myself, and it's the maximum amount of time that I am willing to go between shaves.
Yeah, that makes sense. About 2 weeks.
Any longer than that, and I just start to feel like a Q-tip.
Yeah, well, see, I don't like mine to be, like, if it's a little stubbly after, like, a 5 o'clock shadow vibe, I'm over it, so.
Yep, I get it.
Yeah. Cool. All right, so let's keep doing some stuff here. So what's the next thing? So I finally got everything great. Sorry guys for the delay. Boom. Yeah. I don't know Noah. Yeah. Thanks for dialing in, brother. Holy shit. That was fun. I should never have to fix this again because I have a single mode and like a guest mode now. So go team. All right. What creative music? Like what music really gets you in a creative zone?
It depends on what I'm creating.
Mm-hmm.
When I read this question, I actually had to think about it because. Like if I'm working with words, I can't listen to anything with words I understand. So I can listen to anything in foreign language, or I can listen to like ambient stuff, or like electronic music, or down tempo, or lo-fi. Like I can listen to a lot of different kinds of things that can create a space that sort of like take up the part of my brain that wants to just have something to chew on for a minute, and so the rest of my brain can actually like focus on what it's trying to think about.
Okay.
But like,
I'm the same way, 100%.
If I'm actually making food and I'm in the kitchen and I've got that kind of, like, I want something that I can kind of dance to and have fun to and like sing to a little bit. And I've worked in a commercial kitchen, and
I remember that.
Is the woman who runs it sings. She has a beautiful voice, and and she sings a lot of R&B, and I love it. I just love being in a kitchen that's always singing and dancing. I have worked with a crew of people that are just awesome people. It's like half the reason I've stayed, because it's just a really awesome group of humans, and we have fun and we get it done, and they're beautiful people.
I love that.
They remind me a lot of what my work was supposed to do, or the kinds of spaces it's supposed to create, or the people that it's supposed to serve. Like my work as a designer was always about them. And getting to be around them, it reminds me like why my work was always rooted there.
Sure.
And it's just been nice. It's been nice to connect with a whole bunch of people on honest stuff. So there's that. If I'm in the garden, we listen to a lot of funk.
Funk. What is funk?
Funk music. You know, like Parliament, like funk music.
I have to look up funk music.
You will know it if you hear
Okay.
it. So my partner does. He's a live audio tech, and he tours with a lot of musicians, hip hop, R&B, and funk is a root. It's a root space of those, like, and he listens to a lot of just a lot of music from Black American culture, and so when we're out in the garden, a lot of times we'll listen to a lot of funk, and it's like good, it's happy, it's got a great beat.
I love that. Yeah,
These
so
we're teaching you joy in spite of all circumstances, you know. And
yeah. So oh my god, I can only imagine. It's so uplifting. It's funny. I remember when I first went to Atlanta, and then we were driving back, or maybe it was Baltimore. I don't know. But we started listening to Lizzo on the way back. And we posted a video, and now I fucking love Lizzo. Like, I think Lizzo's amazing. I love everything about this woman's vibe. Like, it's just ridiculous. She's just like, I'm me, and like, you like it, don't like it, I don't care. My music's fucking amazing. I'm about to play this flute. I'm about to do it. It's just ridiculous.
She crushes, and she knows it. And
yeah.
She's not doing it for anybody other than herself, you know. And,
yeah.
And
just such the counterculture.
The world needs more of that audacity, in my opinion. Like,
yes. It's like, I'm turning fat girls into hoes, like, and all the rumors are true. Like, but I'll listen to that and dance around my house and clean the house. Like, it's great.
Yeah, it really depends on, like, so my partner's worked with Janelle Monáe since 2011, and it's been nice to get, because I've known him the entire time, like, we've been friends, and it's been nice to actually like get to see him grow in his career alongside her growth, as she started out as an Atlanta local, and has moved into the spaces that she is now. I used to get these like Marco Polo videos of him like calling out little special moments in performances, so that I could go and track down the YouTube video and like watch the performance, whatever it was, and then actually have the conversation with him about how it was made or what kind of production that was. And so there's a lot of that influence, like he knows the lyrics to every Janelle Monáe song that has ever been made.
I love that.
Like, And so we listen to all kinds of stuff. But you know, when I'm designing, when I actually get into my like deep design space, I really love to listen to like metal and industrials. So it just
Okay. I can see that.
There's a part of me that like goes into like this really deep gritty space when I'm creating at my computer and I'm working on a design.
Your work reflects that a bit too, I think. Like it does have like an edginess to it. Every time I like it, it's cool.
There's a tiny little rage monster that is locked up. I have learned.
Ooh, rage monster! I love that. So imagine rage monster designer. Let's do.
On occasion, likes to rattle the cage a bit, but
sure.
I've got it on lock for the most part. But it is always there. It is a part of me that is. I have had to learn how to have a healthy relationship too, because you know, when yielded inappropriately, can be a little harsh.
Yeah, hey, it's a tool like anything else, and used in the wrong spot, and it can cause more trouble than it can help. So
I am known as a killjoy. I am more than happy to like ruin all your hopes and dreams.
Well, I've never had that pointed at me yet, so I guess I've been behaved.
You know, some people just come out unscathed, and some people they thank me for it later. Usually,
yeah, my wife's like that. Yeah, has the same edge when necessary. I call her a very just human being. You know, she will treat you accordingly.
Yeah, I will do that, and I will own my own shit. Like, I'm more than capable of understanding when I have failed. I don't like it. But you know what? I'll never do it again.
Sure.
Like, I will learn my lesson. I will do something to, like, take the hit. I will show up for that work. Part of my character. Like, I don't mind being called out. I actually prefer it. I find people who are just constantly like, oh yes, and what do you want? And like pleasy and smarmy, like it turns me off.
Sure.
Like if you're too complimentary, I get suspicious.
Yeah. I totally get that. So what some people don't know about you is that you are a self-defined magically disgruntled manifester, which I think is fantastic. So I typed that into the prompt. And I did this.
That name was bestowed upon me. I did not give myself that name.
Fair enough. Thank you for the correction.
Amazing Miss Nikita Pope.
Oh, I love Nikita.
Nikita Pope gave me that name because I was having a very hard time describing myself, and she understood why. Because I had done work as a model. I had done work as a photographer. I had done work as a creative director. I had done work in video and film. Like, my studio was a collaborative space where I functioned as the lead creative strategist, but I did work in print. I did work on, so people were like, so what do you do? And it was like, like I had a really hard time answering that question for anyone.
Yeah.
It was like, and everybody started being like, what does she not do? Then it came out that I could sing. Some people found out I could dance. Like, they were just like, so where do you stop? And I was like, why stop? Like, what's the point? Like, just learn new skills, find new ways to express yourself. Like, what's the point of having limits? It doesn't make sense to me. So I would always just pick up new skills and talents.
But that doesn't fit in a box, Lennie. We need boxes for society.
No, I don't like boxes. Boxes are stupid. I'm a letterpress printer and a strategist and like, once you understand design or design strategy, you can actually make anything. So make whatever you want. Like, why stop yourself? It doesn't make sense to me. So I started pushing that, and she labeled me magically disgruntled manifester. Magically, because I'm an incredibly intuitive person. I pick up on a lot of nuance. There is a lot of magic in my practice. Disgruntled, because I do a lot of social impact work, and if you are not chronically face palming, you are not doing it right. That's where that little rage monkey needs to be put in the cage.
Sure.
I have to be on the receiving end of hearing a lot of people say something stupid, and then instead of shaming them for saying something stupid, help them understand why it's stupid so that they themselves go, oh, that was stupid. And
yeah, well, you got to lead somebody there sometimes. Yeah, for sure.
I coach people into a place that doesn't feel good, and then I help them learn what they can do about it, right? Like, where is the step where you do have power so that you don't do this again? And that's where the manifester comes in. It comes into actually having a plan to create a new experience instead. So
love it.
All of it.
Well, I punched that into the AI here, and it came up with these 4 little drawings for you. I put watercolor and colorful in there too, just for fun. So
no, those are great. I mean, I came out with a rainbow brand when everybody told me it was a mistake, and now everybody's got rainbow brands.
Yeah.
They were like, you can't have a brand with 7 colors. That defies the laws of branding. And I was like, great, I'm gonna do it anyway.
Yep.
Like,
my brand has every color in it.
You can have a 7-color brand in a single color medium. And then I started playing with color orientation in my papers and like playing with and they were like, and like every time they were like, this isn't possible. And I was like, here's how it's possible. Like, most of our rules are just arbitrary and stupid.
Yeah, for sure. So I played up some more variations of one of these things here for you.
I like this little,
oh, this is which one? So this is the Rage Monster.
Yeah, I like the Rage Monster ones. Those are pretty great.
This is the hot mess that is creativity. That was a line that my buddy Mark pulled out for us while we were talking. He just wrote it up on the chat. I just saw it. Which one did you say you liked?
This one on the bottom right of this quad, not this one, the next one down. What is it? Like, what is this? It's like somebody strolling through
this is the magically disgruntled manifester. I don't know what the fuck it is.
This is like some crazy magic stuff.
Dude, this is what the computer thinks magically disgruntled manifester is.
I like this whole rainbow magic festival thing that's happening.
Me too.
Or
me
too. The burning of a town. It's hard to tell whether it's burning or whether I just set everything on fire. But that's fitting.
Creativity born of the chaos.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. There's
for sure.
Let it burn. Start over.
Yes.
Rebuild. It's what we do.
There's no time where there's more creativity than when all the shit just blew up, for sure.
We have to be pushed to that place before we actually come up with our best ideas. We don't start doing really cool shit until it gets real.
Yes. That's when the best ideas and innovation comes out of desperation in so many times.
Yeah, it comes out of us being like, oh, we really can't keep doing this.
For sure.
The goal is to try and get people there sooner. One of my students, she was like, well, all these people with toothpaste tabs now, versus toothpaste tubes. There's no better or worse one. And I was like, well, it depends on whether you're considering scale. And she was like, what do you mean? I was like, well, you as a single person, a single toothpaste tube doesn't really matter that much. I was like, except you take into account that we can't recycle that kind of plastic, and every toothpaste tube that's ever existed for every single person on the planet is still here. And her brain just was you can see it just go oh.
Yeah.
I was like, then you have to ask yourself where the better choice lies, right? Everything you see in the world, take it to scale, and then ask if that seems reasonable to you. Or if there might be a better method that could be employed, and if it might be worth spending the money to adopt a new method and changing the behavior towards that new method that maybe doesn't have this consequence. And she was just like, and I was like, and that is the essence of sustainable design.
Just gotta keep exploding heads in all the best ways.
And I said that was a personal branding class. So
I love that. And that's the class you're teaching now. You're teaching, this is the Miami School of Advertising, right?
So Miami Ad School, the campus that I work with used to be called Portfolio Center, had a lot of equity. It's Portfolio Center, merged with Miami Ad. Miami Ad was its own portfolio school. It is considered the top portfolio school in the world.
Ooh.
They have campuses all over the planet. It is an advertising school, specifically, meaning they get you into a career track with a lot of different agencies and firms. Once you get through the other end of the program, they have a 97 to 100% placement rate for their students.
Holy shit. That's those are some numbers.
It's kind of like a guaranteed crash course in your creative skill development that you leave the program with a portfolio that gets you hired. A
Okay.
portfolio and the skill set that gets you hired. And because it's, less expensive than a university, it is a career track oriented that can land you into a solid career space. There are a lot of people who are interested in going through a program like this.
Yeah, I mean, it naturally makes sense.
And I have a strategy that I created for AIGA Atlanta several years ago in order to partner within the high school system to see if we could do like an experiment on shifting the pipeline from high school students into professional career tracks to try and change the diversity issue at the source. Instead of, looking around at existing careers and asking ourselves why there weren't more people, like why aren't we finding more BIPOC people entering into the industry? And what is it about our education system that is a barrier to access?
Yeah, I mean higher ed, right? Like most of there's a big disconnect going from high school to college.
It financially, culturally, like there are lots of problems.
But in college is kind of dying now, I feel like, in our industry.
Right. Like college in general is becoming less and less necessary as long as aptitude, skill development, like portfolio, like as long as
you got to have the chops.
Work, you can do the chops.
Yeah.
More and more people will hire you, right? So, portfolio schools have a long-standing reputation of getting people very successful careers. And I know quite a few people who have come out of the Miami Ad program and landed in really great career places in their lives. True success stories. So
that's amazing.
It's a program that I've always, like, I respect it. They have a really good program. And
oh, you're cutting out.
Yeah. Are we back? I think we're back.
Yep. Dude, look at these renders I just got.
Nice.
I put in magically disgruntled manifester, battling a rage monster designer on top of the hot mess that is creativity and colorful water.
Pretty fantastic. So, I really kind of want to make this a postcard series. Like, these are amazing.
Yeah, and you can just keep upscaling these too, which is neat. So,
the woman who took that strategy over from me, like I created the strategy and then she ran the program alongside AIGA. She works with Miami Ad as one of the like education directors, and she and I were meeting for coffee, and she was asking what I was working on, and I was telling her about a course I was creating for personal branding.
Yeah.
And she was like, or based on principles of personal branding. And she was like, well, I have a personal branding class. Would you like to teach it? She told me like the point of the class. And I was like, sure, I would like love to teach this class. That would be great. It would give me an opportunity to kind of test out this work and, have an interactive space and, be a part of the education system. And it also gives us the opportunity to work more on this program, which she has turned into a multi-county program that is now actually helping to shift the education pipeline towards more creative careers and having more diversity in that space. And she's successfully been running the program for about 4 years. She's grown it to include like Fulton County, DeKalb County, and Gwinnett County school systems. She's done incredible work with it, and she's seen the strategy, like she's seen the work that I have done in like real time. And so we're really interested in continuing to like see how we can shift this like confidence level, which is a part of what my class is all about, is that creative confidence to really go after the job that you want.
God, that's the biggest part, isn't it? Like, I mean, for me at least, it has been like I've known we could do what we could do and what I could do as an artist like my whole life, but like having that imposter syndrome in the way and like not, or just being afraid of like not being able to hit your 100 percentile, right? Like, because our whole education system is like you get one shot, you get A 75. Well, you got a 75 and you're pretty average. I was like, oh, well, you messed up and misunderstood something and didn't get a 90 or didn't get a 100. Like, well, that's it. You're fucked. Like, and like that whole system has been so deeply ingrained in us. But real life isn't like that. Real life is an iteration and a building process. And like, oh, look, there's some room for adjustment. Like, 80% is great. Like let's see how we can do better next time and build on that.
Like, when it comes to creative careers, the success goes to the people who go after it.
Yeah, for sure.
And so
the risk takers.
The confidence to go after it. If you're lacking that assertiveness to chase the job that you want, then you're always just getting whatever job is available or whatever is around you. And for a lot of people, that's fine. It pays the bills. It fits their skill set, like day in, day out, they can have the rest of their lives. But for some people, it's not enough. And I've met so many people in the creative space that aren't doing what they really want to do, or they're not working in a space they really want to work in, or they're not targeting an industry that has meaning for them. And, like they just don't feel great about their jobs. And like they love their craft, but they just wish they could fit somewhere else. And I was like, wow, this is a profession that touches literally everything.
Yeah.
The creative, advertising, communications, design space touches everything. So why not just get clear on who you are and what you want and start targeting your goal very specifically, so that eventually, if you keep chipping away at that mountain, you get the job you really want. And at least until then, you're working in a narrative that is satisfying for you, right? Like you want to be a storyteller. What kind of stories do you want to tell?
Right.
Who do you want to tell them to?
Get into the weeds of it. And it's the same for business and everything. Yeah.
Space and networking those communities and participating in that stuff. And eventually you will culminate into what you want. But we don't get taught these things. We get taught process and practice. We don't get taught like how to align ourselves towards our ultimate goal.
100%.
And I love that they actually have this class in order to help these students get that kind of confidence and that kind of clarity. And like I'm only just starting this quarter, and you can see them just being like, oh, this is hard, but worth it. And I'm like, yeah,
and that's why they're number one, right? That's why the school's number one.
To look at themselves in a new way. Like the whole first class was, who are you anyway? Like, who are you? Ooh. I need all of your identity markers. Let's look at strengths and weaknesses. Like, let's actually get real with ourselves. And they were all just like, oh. And I was like, and vulnerability. You're trying to be a personal brand. There's a lot that's going to come with that. How do you handle criticism? How do you handle your weaknesses? How do you show up with accountability for them? Like, and they were just like, oh, I get it. And then today it was all about, who's your audience? Like, who are you even talking to? And when I actually positioned them with some of these questions about like targeting their core audience or their core passions or industries they really want to work with, studios that they would like to work with, because that in the context of this class is their audience. They were all just like, oh. And I was like, get specific. Like, don't just be like, I want to be a copywriter. What do you want to write about? Like,
it's the same thing when you're building a business. Like, it's all brand positioning, because you can't advertise or promote yourself to everybody. And the thing is, there's almost 8 billion human beings on planet Earth. So there's your tribe's out there. Your group of people that loves your flavor or whatever you're into is there. You just got to get in front of them.
Yeah, there's no right or wrong. Like I was like, what do you love? What are you passionate about? And one of my students was like, man, I love going to the gym. But to be honest, I really like to have mimosas after. And I was like, that could be your brand. Do you know how many people are willing to show up for gym followed by mimosas? I was like, that's like a brunch audience right there. Like, that's brunch audience trying to do better. And then she was like, oh, it's like, that can be your brand.
One of my...
No right or wrong in this space. It's just how well you own it. And that's awesome, because if you can actually get communities that are classically underserved, or people who have like typically been kept in the sidelines of these conversations, that kind of audacity, right? Like, then they can go out and rule the world. And it's like, that's where real diversity is going to come from. It's going to come from like, not just like helping them find that passion and that fire and focus it in a really targeted direction, and then go after what they really want, instead of just wasting time you know, being like, oh, well, I'm grateful I have a job. Like,
Well,
no.
there's a phase of experimentation I think that's really important. Like when you're
And
first getting out there, try everything, do everything so you know what flavors you don't like and what flavors you do like, so then you can build on those things.
So I told them that they can use these exercises at any point in time that they want to refine themselves, right? Like learn them
100%.
now and then go and do what you think you want to do now. And then when you don't want to do that, come back and ask yourself these questions again and see where you land. Like check in. Like it can be something that you do on repeat. And they were all like, oh, and I was like, yeah, because you're not going to stay the same. Like hopefully you keep growing.
Yeah.
Hopefully adding skills. Hopefully you keep changing. Hopefully the kind of creative person that you are now is not the kind of creative person you become.
Totally. You know, when I started my companies,
are you really growing in that space? And that's something that I want to impress upon them. Like that was a huge part of my learning experience, is really feeling like I was going after a specific kind of career and then having the world fall apart and realizing that it was actually a good thing.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because the kind of designer that I was, it wasn't the kind of designer that I could be if I just had enough time to like reposition myself. And I think that a lot of people outgrow their career track. And that's why you have concepts of like pivot or industry change, or, you know, like we got what we were looking for out of the job that we were in or out of the role that we were playing. And we want to play a different kind of role.
Yeah, you got to build, and sometimes you kind of end the run, you know, the run of that track. So, let me ask you another one of my questions here, Lennie. What type of things inspire you? I think I know some of these answers, but I'm sure you've hit on a bunch of them already. But
so one is a line that I have in some of my bios, and it's that I'm really inspired by the kindness found in strangers, because I really am. When I see people being kind to other people, for no other reason than to just be kind to them.
I love that.
I'm reminded what all of this is for. Like, I'm reminded where hope lives, right? And it lives there. And we see it all the time, whether we want to see it or not. Like, whether we are grateful for it or we, like, really receive that that's what we're experiencing. It's out there, and it's everywhere. And if you actually look for it, if you look for other people being kind to people, you'll just see how much love is in the world. And it makes me feel happier to be alive in such a crazy time.
Yeah, because you can easily jump on Facebook or Twitter and like get lost in the madness of political divide and all the different things that are coming along with that, and like just drive straight through society, where it's like you either agree with what I say or you're an idiot. And like none of that's bonding, but like the kindness in strangers, and I love that. I really, really do.
I have friends who are now besties because one of them they were at a protest and one of them saw the other one get injured, and he came to help them because he really, like, he had gotten hit in the head and he could have been potentially concussed, and they realized they're from the same town, and they became like, you know, best friends because they had this moment because one of them helped them in the middle of a moment of trauma.
So human, such a human experience, you know, like it. Yeah.
Like, this is what we're all fighting for, right? Like, this is what we're all upset about and we're all mad about. And I'm trying to do more because I've spent a lot of my time like publicly exposing what I'm frustrated with, like letting that rage monkey have a little bit too much bandwidth.
The rage monkey. Oh, I like that. It's been pivoted from monster.
Like, on the inside of my chest, and I have to be like, shh. And so, I'm trying to take this time to focus on the world that I want, or that I like, that we share, like this belief of this like better world, right? Like I'm trying to focus on that as opposed to the way the world is that is not that. Like I think we're spending a lot of time worrying about what is wrong or bad instead of focusing on what is good and what we can still do. Like we still power to make change. We still have power to make positive motion, and I do not want to get sucked into fear and apathy.
Sure. Yeah, no, because they don't do anything.
Like we as individuals, as human beings on Earth, are empowered to make better decisions, to make better design choices. We as creative people are empowered to make better design choices. Like it is not a lost game. And I really wish more people would try to actually just focus on what we can still do. Because that's where all good problem solving is. It's like it recognizes there's a problem, but it's not getting lost in the emotional sauce of that problem. It's not like, oh, well, then I'll blah, blah, blah. It's like recognizes
The wine fest. Yeah.
Like it starts going, it doesn't get like the pathological reverie, right? Like it doesn't go there. It moves towards solutions.
Yeah.
And anybody who has been under the gun on a creative project knows that moment where all of the pressure is on, all of the stress is on, and you also turn on. And you get it done.
You get in that zone.
It done. And there's something really satisfying in that. And I want to inspire that place.
Sure.
I want to inspire that place where like maybe it's not that great, but you dig deep and you get it done. And so I don't want to shy away from reality, and I don't want to shy away from hardship or struggle or like the fact that it's work.
Yeah.
It takes behavior change. It takes decision changes. It takes lifestyle changes. It takes a lot of different kinds of change, and that's work. And it's not comfortable because you have to reconcile all the ways that you weren't doing it so great in the first place.
It's real talk for sure.
Like, but if you can get there, so yeah, kindness found in strangers because it makes the world a better place.
Good.
Really
all right,
good
so how about this?
People expressing themselves.
Oh, I see that too, for sure. So what is your most personally moving creative experience ever?
So I have questions about this question.
It just whatever you want, but yeah.
The question that I have about this question is, like, in terms of my own creativity?
Yeah.
Or in terms of, like, creative career?
In terms, I mean, let's touch on both.
Okay. My own creativity, one of the most moving experiences I had was actually with my friend Maggie.
Okay.
And she does an artist collaborative yoga experience. She's a yoga instructor, and she does a thing called Movement Love, and she partners with local artists. And they come into her yoga practice and they do their art in the shared space on a theme that we share together.
Okay.
And when I did this, I set up 3 scrolls around the room, and one of them was past, one of them was present, and one of them was future. And then she stood in the room and she read aloud the practice of yoga, and she had created a custom playlist for this experience based off of her understanding and awareness of me. And I was doing an improv poem on each of these scrolls and I was pulling words that were being spoken from her and from the music. And so I was extracting from the space and basically facilitating, right? Like I was just flowing into the space, and I created a poem with this handmade ink that another friend of mine made and a brush. Wow. Then when I got to the end and everybody was in Shavasana, I pulled these 3 scrolls together into a space in the middle of the room. And then I did a blackout poem that combined the 3 into a space of integrity, so that 4 poems were made from this experience. And
that's really cool, Lennie.
It was beautiful. It was really, like, I still have the papers. Like, I don't know what to do with them because they're too long to fit in any of the rooms that I have. But it was a really beautiful experience. And the yoga practice was lovely. And I, as a yoga instructor, I really love her anyway. She's been a teacher of mine for years. And she's one of my best friends. She's a part of my, like, lady gang. And she's one of the most incredible women I've ever met in my life. Like, beautiful. She's just a phenomenal person. And the space that she creates with this program that she does is inspiring. The artists that I've connected with and the work that I've seen done, and I was so grateful to get to be a part of it. But everybody at the end was also very moved. Like, it's called Movement Love because it is that. Like, it's a very moving experience to be participating in it, and a lot of beautiful things get created in this space. And so that was, from my own creativity, one of the most moving experiences I've ever had.
Cool. I love that. I just threw some of those words into like the chat here, or the bot. So the AI like mangles human beings a lot of times. You really have to dial into some of the commands to make them look cool.
I love this abstracted humanity that's happening. It's like very fitting to me, like this sort of like silhouetted human space. I dig it.
Like it has yoga vibes for sure. Like you wouldn't look at that and not think it was yoga, but it's like a dumpster fire in terms of like anatomy.
It's got Atlanta City vibes. Like I could see it.
Okay.
I can see kind of the urban thing. I also like my rage monkey. He's pretty cute.
Yeah.
This, like, one in the upper left corner.
Yeah, with like the face here.
Yeah, face.
Oh like, yeah, it's so cool.
Amazing.
Let's do
like a dope tattoo right there, like just like this like grumpy monkey on your arm.
Grumpy monkey. So I'm gonna upscale that guy, and then I'm gonna do variations of that one. So like this right here. So like these like U1 through 4 is upscale 1, 2, 3, or 4. So make it higher resolution, add in more detail, or do variations of 1, 2, 3, or 4, or you can just re-roll the dice. Just see what the hell else it comes.
I like grumpy monkey. Like that one makes me happy.
I love it. Check out this, the kind stranger. How cool is this?
Also, that looks like a cartoon I watched the other day. No, I'm just like, but it looks like a cartoon I could have watched the other day. It's totally they're all coming out like very much my style, which is very interesting to me. Like
interesting, right?
Picked up on my vibe, which weirds me out a little bit.
This stuff is so weirdly intuitive. I mean, it's scrubbing the internet of like human consciousness, and like look at all these monkeys. Wow, these are amazing.
Professionally, one of the most moving experiences I had is when a student reached out to me and told me that they were assigned the project of doing a bio piece on a living designer, and they wanted to know if they could interview me for the piece. Wow.
That was humbling.
I was like, oh, yeah, but why?
Jeez.
Like, I don't... Like,
and imposter syndrome, right? Yep.
Yeah, like, but really? For, like, your college class? Like, and the reason was because they were a trans student, and they were looking for gender non-conforming designers, and they couldn't find very many. And that also inhabited an intersection of printmaking and social justice. And I was like, well, yeah, that's like a little bit more narrow.
I'm at the top of that list for sure. That's what, yeah.
Like
yeah.
They were looking for someone in this like Venn diagram of social impact, printmaking, and gender nonconformity, and I was just like, yeah, that's a lot harder to come by, and I'm definitely in a limited scope of those people.
And that's branding.
Yeah, I was the most successful. They found me at like the top of my game doing path to impact stuff, and they wanted to know if they could interview me, and it was humbling to realize that I was representation.
Yeah. How cool is that? I mean,
I was their example, and it was a different experience. Like at that point, you're like, oh, role models, right? Like,
the pressure's on now, Lenny.
Yeah, there are people looking up to you. Like there are people researching you for school. Like that was a new. It really took something out of me that day to be like, oh, right. Like what you do in the world matters, no matter who you think you are, or even whether or not you think you're that great. Like you don't know who you are impacting in the world just being who you are, like just doing your thing.
Yeah.
Somebody out there is going to be moved by it, and I find that experience very moving.
I've had that experience first time, just like when I'm posting videos about growing shit, and people like sending me messages like, I'm growing stuff this year for the first time because you made it seem so easy. I was like, oh my God, cool. So then I kept making those videos. And now that I've really leaned into this art shit this year, it's gone insane. Like, I have people reach out all the time just like saying how moving this all is and talking about how they lost somebody. And like, because I built all this around like, in remembrance of my father and honoring his creative legacy. And then some people just love the art. And it's like, it's so flattering when someone likes my art. It's really, because I just do this shit for me, like, and someone commissioned me to do a piece of art, and I'm gonna start it next month, which is really exciting, like mind-blowing.
I love your work. Also, I need this monkey, because if Magically Disgruntled Manifester has ever had a logo, it might be this. Like,
all right, I love it.
Let's. The closer I look at it, it's like, because it's sad eyes, right? Like, it's sad, disappointed eyes. It's not like it's only mad at you because it's mad that it has to explain it again. Like, it's mad that it has to tell you twice. Like,
the face is it's
so disappointed. It's just
and it's so colorful and beautiful. It's like the juxtaposition is just it's just glorious.
There's a little bit of longing. There's a little bit of like, I hoped more for you, but like those eyes are really
could totally turn into a rage monkey at any moment.
It's red. Like if you push it a step further, heads are gonna roll.
Fuck around and find out.
It's exactly. It's like you've got one more fuck to find out. It's like so tired and exasperated that you can see the limit, and I feel like that's the point. Like,
dude, I'd be honored to give you this. I did nothing for it.
Cracks me up so
it's
much.
Glorious.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, that is how it feels. It's just. That's what the disgruntled part of my name feels like, is that monkey.
The face. All right. I love it. Yeah.
Oh.
Some of these other ones just look, like they just melted a little.
That one's definitely the winner, because it's just so upset with you.
For sure. What is going on with this one? Like, what? I don't even know.
That one's the inner child. That one's still trying to like find hope.
It's finding its brand.
This one's just like,
this one's like, I committed to this and we're going all in, but
badass eyes, like, oh man.
All right. So next question. Who are some of your favorite artists or types of art in any medium? Most importantly, why?
Okay, printmaking.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm a printmaker.
So, favorite printmaker of all time?
Emory Douglas.
All right, I'm unfamiliar with this person. So, Emery?
Emory, Emory Douglas. Emory Douglas is a renowned printmaker because he did the graphic art and design for the Black Panther Party.
Oh, okay. And this is Emory Douglas, so this is some of his art.
His art is known for being incredibly simple in color, usually 2 colors.
Yeah.
But his use of color was always really strong. And
nice.
He created an entire visual language for Black American oppression during the height of the Civil Rights Movement and the era of the Black Panthers.
Amazing.
Organization that is often very misunderstood by white America because they were a really community-centered organization, and they were there to try and combat the oppression of Black people by offering community programs that gave, lunch to kids and, like fed and educated children was one of their primary goals. And he created a visual language that has stood the test of time for protest art, and I love his work.
Yeah, it's really cool stuff. I mean, so what was this, the 50s?
60s?
60s?
60s
Okay.
And the 70s. So I think he started in 67 and he ended when the Black Panthers dissolved in 80.
Okay.
Well, publicly dissolved in 80.
Yeah, this is real. There's so much emotion and like statement in these, and I love the stylization. It's
To me,
beautiful to
he's
see
a
an artist
master.
find their space,
To me, he's a master of telling an entire story in a single graphic.
Okay.
Like he's
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, there's some
he's
stories
so
here for sure.
good at communicating the narrative in one image, and that's what graphic design is supposed to excel at, right? Like it's supposed to give you the whole story in one graphic, and I think that he just does that incredibly well, and he does it for people that particularly at this time lacked a lot of adequate representation for what they were experiencing, and
Yeah.
he the experience in his work, and it's really excellent printmaking.
Sure. Were these
He
like
was,
carved at the time? They must like
no,
woodcuts or
mostly screen printing,
okay.
lithography, web presses. But he was the graphic artist that created the communications platform for the Black Panthers, and has been awarded later in his life for his contributions to the medium.
But sure, not in the time, I'm sure.
No, I mean he's still alive. Like it happened within his lifetime. Like he did get 2 weeks.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, we're losing you again.
I think we're back.
Yes. All right. There we go.
Get to experience celebrate.
Lost you again. Oh, now you're back. Stupid internets. The monkey's gonna snap soon here.
He's my favorite. He's my favorite printmaker.
Love it. It's beautiful stuff. This is like the part of the show that is my favorite, I think, where I get to see like the things that inspire other people. Like I've never heard of this man, and I should have, but I also, I didn't grow up in Atlanta, so but not that matters. But
He's from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Yeah, no, I just meant culturally in Atlanta. Like, I remember going to Atlanta, and like I felt like such a dumb white boy. Like, I was like, yeah, we were at this bar. It was over on this place. It was, mostly black people, and you just looked at me and started laughing. You're like, Carl, everywhere's mostly black people. This is Atlanta. I was like, oh, okay.
It's funny. I was just getting coffee recently. My partner had flown into town. He had 20 hours before he had to fly out of town again. He was gone for a week, and then he flew out for 4 weeks, and we had 20 hours. So we went to our favorite coffee shop, and I got our favorite coffee. And there's a Finnish guy who was sitting there, and he sees my partner hand rolling a cigarette and asked if he could grab, a hand-rolled cigarette, because my partner was smoking organic tobacco, and he was like, I haven't really found any organic tobacco. This is amazing. So they connect for a minute, and the guy, he's talking to us, and he's like, yeah, I think I stayed in the black part of town, and he started laughing.
Which seems dumb now to me, but I was in the same space.
He was like, what? And I was like, I don't think you understand.
That's called Atlanta. Welcome.
I was like, it's a majority black city. And he was like, oh, so you're like 50-50. And I was like, no, I said majority. It's like 70-30.
Wow, that's amazing.
Oh, and I was like, every part of town is the black part of town.
That's beautiful.
Like, there's no, not black part of town in Atlanta. There are black people everywhere here. And he was like, oh. And I was like, our government is black. And he was like, really? Yeah.
And that tells you kind of like the fact that that's shocking is strange,
Yeah, like he was just like, oh. And I was like, yeah, it's all over the place. And he was like, so what do you do here? And I was like, we do everything here.
What do you do here? So, what a question.
I was like, what do you do that's interesting? And I was like, well, we have a lot of arts and culture. And he was like, oh, well, what is what do you, I was like, well, there's a lot of music and there's a lot of film. And he said, what famous movie about Atlanta have you made? And I was like, it's not movies about Atlanta, it's movies filmed in Atlanta. And he was like, so what famous movies have been filmed in Atlanta?
A lot of them.
Like all of the Marvel movies?
Yeah, it's like the next Hollywood, maybe.
Yeah, I was like, like, you do realize we produce more film than Hollywood right now? And he was like, oh, I didn't. And I was like, yeah, super cute.
Yeah.
No idea where you are. And then he was like, but music? And I was like, yeah, we're like the mecca of hip hop right now. Like we like and I was like, hip hop, R&B, gospel, soul, rock, country, like what music doesn't come out of Atlanta?
Yeah, it's a great collaboration of just human culture in America.
Yeah, it was like, we really are a truly intersectional city. Like everything is happening here, and you look at what's coming out of the city, and it's all over the map. Like
That's beautiful.
Everybody's everywhere.
Yeah, I really loved it there. I don't travel much. It was really nice just like kind of experiencing something that was totally different than what I'm accustomed to here in like Norfolk, Virginia, which is great, by the way. I love Norfolk. It's a sweet little city. I appreciate it more that I've been other places now and kind of can see differences and stuff. But that was all I meant by the statement that you grew up in Atlanta. This, you were exposed to more Black culture and things of that nature. So yeah.
Yeah, like I definitely got my Black Panther education like a long time ago, like, and
Sure.
So I have a dear friend. She's an architect now. She's wonderful human being, and I love her very much. But she's been one of my dear friends since the 7th grade, and so that's like, oh God, 30 years or something. She was my first friend in Georgia, and
cool.
At the time that I met her, she was like, she was solid. She taught me so much about the civil rights movement. She taught me so much about Black oppression. I remember, like, and we talk about it openly because we got paired in science class, and I'm like one of the only white kids in this school at this point, and I get paired with her in science class, and she was just like, oh great. Like I get like the one of you in the whole school.
Yeah.
Like, good Lord. But I wasn't raised with that kind of bias. And so I was just like, hi, who are you? Tell me about yourself. And she was like, wait, what is this? Like, she was so disarmed that
Beautiful.
I was just like, tell me about yourself and like, let's be friends. She was just like, oh my God, what is this? And we became really close friends. And we started talking a lot about philosophy and society. And she taught me so much about the reality of Black American culture.
Right.
At the time, it was the 90s, and some like hip hop classics are dropping. We've got Tupac, we've got Biggie, we've got Missy, we've got all of these albums hitting the mainstream and dominating the space and becoming like huge cultural topics of conversation. And I'm in an all Black school at the time that those albums are hitting, and they became a big part of just my identity. I was in a marching band. We even did like a battle of the bands, and we opened up the HBCU battle of the bands and like opened the grounds for FAMU to take the field. And like I have a lot of these really amazing memories that a lot of white people never experience.
Of course. Yeah.
A lot
for
of culture,
sure.
a lot of love, a lot of dance, a lot of excitement, a lot of enthusiasm for life, like a lot of this stuff, and it became a huge part of who I am as a person.
Yeah. So it did, and it clearly massively influenced your career and all the ways that you became a designer and the things you are excited about designing around. And
it's because all of these people in my life predate social media. My social media does not accurately reflect all of the Black women who made me, like
beautiful,
who are like my best friends, who are like loves of my life, who like,
and they're just women, right? Like just humans you love.
Just all beings, and we just love each other, and we've always loved each other since middle school. We've loved each other, right? Like there's always been this really deep-rooted love, but that was before MySpace. And so you don't see them a lot in my world, and we may not even have day-to-day contact, but if you see us together, it is all heart. Like, and
family immediately.
Like they're my family, and when I am running ideas by them, and I'm trying to figure out like how I'm representing myself in space, I'm running it by them.
Yeah.
I'm asking them how I'm doing. Like, they are my judges.
Yeah.
And if I'm doing right by these women, then I'm doing right. Like, that
Then
is
you know
how
you're
I feel
solid.
about it.
I love that.
Like, I know I'm on good ground as long as I am making them proud. And a lot of people don't understand that they're my metric. Like, anybody else could applaud me. I could get whatever awards. It doesn't matter. As long as
Ooh,
I'm
yeah.
making my life proud, then I have done right in my life.
Yeah, totally get that. Totally. That's amazing. And it's so powerful what we do as creatives, because without like creativity, like and art in particular and design on top of that only comes in after like you have all your necessities, right? You have to have the utilities, the tools and utilitarian things in your life that you need to survive before you give a shit how something looks or how if it's pretty or if it's function first. Yeah. And then after that, it's like, okay, then art immediately becomes culture. Like, okay, well, we have this cool thing. Well, let's make it beautiful. Let's make ours different. Let's make ours better than theirs or whatever that is. And like, then we build all these things up around it. And, obviously we could get into long dissertations about the systems and the way things are built, and that's all part of that as well. But I just love this idea, and I it's a mission of mine to really try to combat the idea that art is disposable, or that art's a nicety, or art is the like fundamental differentiator for cultures. Like, it is like, how do we dance, how do we talk, how do we paint, how do we sing, what do we say, all of those things define all the communities across the world. And now that we're all so connected, it's all like cramming into making these crazy new hodgepodges that I just love. Like, everything about all the way this is coming together is just fascinating to me. So
it's also a method of communication that is wired into the human experience, right? Like,
sure.
And like, how many times do you read an article that is just a big old block of text that you start skimming, but you would pay more attention to if it had photos that were relevant?
Yep.
Or if it were done as a video representation of the same thing. Like, we want to complain, especially now. Like, there's so many people complaining we don't like to read books, and we don't like. It's because video media is easier to consume. Like,
it is. It literally takes less work.
It gets the point across to more people more quickly. More people can see. Pictures are a more universal language than words. And English is a prime example of this, because English messes people up all the time.
Yeah. It's such a collision of a couple other languages too. Like, there's all these weird things in it that the system isn't. It's like 80% the system, and then you have to figure out 20% of exceptions. Yeah,
it's like, so one of the markers of a white supremacist culture is belief in the right word, right? Like, attachment. The word being a form of purity. And one of the reasons why it is a form of white supremacy or a supremacist culture is that if you have somebody who is duolingual and speaks more, or trilingual and quadlingual, they might get a word confused. And if you like, oh, I don't like this comma placement, or you use the wrong form of to, therefore you're out. Like, there are lots of people who, we'd call them grammar Nazis, right? Like,
right.
They read through stuff and they automatically dismiss people who would otherwise be capable or qualified. They just had a language faux pas.
Yeah.
And instead of being loud. Instead of being allowed to actually have that language, that simple misunderstanding understood, they get dismissed.
Yeah. I've seen that. And go ahead.
But we live in a country without a formal language, so really, like, any language is fair game. Because nobody's decided that there is a single language that is the language to learn. Like, you're supposed to provide translation services to anybody who doesn't speak the language. Like, that's actually how this thing goes.
And some people will argue that it's English and this is America, and I get some of that statement. And I used to be in that Sorry?
We legally don't have a formal. Some countries
That's
do.
true. No, I understand what you're saying there.
But don't. So
Got
we
you.
create a space where it like you're allowed to not speak English and be, and then we get mad at people, but it's like that's the rule we set.
Yeah, that's literally the legal
Um,
rule.
like that's the
And to that
rule.
point,
So,
I remember a spot when I was, a very young man, like 18. I'm now in like college, and I met my wife, and I remember my wife having a conversation with me. And she grew up, or her stepfather was black, and she has black family members, so she understood black culture better than I had no idea about any of this. I had this whole idea that like, well, there's this way you speak, and if you cared about how you came across, you would speak proper English. And like I had this whole kind of consciousness, and then I had this epiphany through conversations with my wife that like that's like almost a cultural like degrading thing, in that like not only are we saying like this language is better than that, or this is the proper way to speak, which aside from that bullshit, like this is how language evolves, right?
mm-hmm.
Like it evolves through subcultures and people changing the little way they say er, they change it to a, and they say a u here instead of an o, and like all the different little nuances builds an entire new language eventually. Like why are we trying to stifle that? Like it doesn't even make sense. And that's when I really was like, okay, like
I've gotten into so many arguments with editors about stylistic choices that are not grammatically correct.
Oh, sure.
They want to make them perfect, and I'm like, but that loses the essence of the communication. And like
ooh,
the number of times that we have to go toe to toe on this because their editing brain wants to make it right, and my creative brain wants to make it poignant,
yeah. Well, you want to make it creative. It's creative writing, right? Like this isn't a technical document. Like
yeah, I'm trying to make this visually interesting, or
yeah,
conceptually interesting, and so like the number of times, or like make the same point, this is how a language evolves. This idea that a language is a static thing is false. Language has always been changing. The meanings of words change all the time, like so
all the time.
Being so rigid about this is the right way to do things, like let's just all adapt to how things are doing and evolve our language skills along with life. Like it's not hard.
I agree. So I want to do some more art here. So what I usually end up doing at some point is trying to come up with a prompt with my guests that we can punch into this thing that I can utilize to like build out a piece of art, later on, and then I'll send it to you as a surprise, tomorrow, or I'll try to get it done tonight. We shall see. But what do you think about this AI stuff so far? It's pretty wild, huh?
I think it's pretty fascinating. It's also, it really is picking up on my essence, which is a little disturbing to me.
For sure. So, let's see, what prompt can we come up with here? Let's run through just some of the shit I typed in here, and then we can kind of come up with like a prompt, and then I'll end up doing like 6 or 8 different renders, and clipping them all together. It'll take me like an hour or two, but yeah, so we have your magically disgruntled manifester, right? Some of these were.
I do like this one. It feels like a seance, or
it has some seance vibes.
I'm not sure which one it is, like whether I'm like conjuring something or whether I'm burning it to the ground, which could be synonymous. Like
sure. Sequential even.
I did, yeah. Like I might be burning some things to the ground, building other things up. Like who knows?
Oh.
Like, but it does have that aspect to it, which I also appreciate.
Okay. I like that. Conjure it. I'm just playing with some stuff here. All right, so this is the Rage Monster, some of the first iterations. I like some of these like dark clouds kind of ideas. They're neat.
Also, the one on the right, that like turquoise and pink thing that's happening.
Yeah.
That feels really valid.
I love it. I just love the way you've described that. It's valid.
Like that's legit.
I'm gonna do some variations of that one, so I just shot those off. So the hot.
Can you not logic this? And I was like, no, I'm sorry. That's just how my brain works. Like, I'm gonna logic everything. Suck it up. And he was like, all right, fine. Like,
love it. These were variations of that same magical manifester. I really like this one down here for some reason. It was like it seems like a child kind of like
It
making
does.
some
That
spells.
one seems a lot more innocent.
Yeah.
The one on the left, the one above it, feels a little bit more authoritarian. Like,
Oh yeah, the cloak.
like, it feels like a book burning. Like, I don't like that one.
Yeah. There's a little censorship
the
there.
kid feels like a festival. The kid feels like that's like fun. It's like Pride, right? Like they
Yeah, dude, I love Pride. Have you ever been to a Pride anything that wasn't a fucking blast? Like people weren't just having a blast.
Fun.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
People are fun.
When's the last time you went to a sad gay thing? Like it doesn't. It's why they had.
Like,
Literally, right? So it did used to mean happy until it was adopted by the gay community. I assume that's how that worked. I don't know. I'm assuming a lot of shit, but literally, always fun.
But it doesn't matter. That just means that, like, if it were bestowed upon them, it means everybody was saying, man, they're having fun. And if it was taken upon themselves, they're like, woohoo, we're fun. So
yeah, like, love it. Yeah, so we do all the stuff for the Hampton Roads Pride stuff with Epic Made. I just love it. It's always so literally just festive and colorful and exciting. It's like
for everybody. Like,
it's never boring.
No,
this one's crazy. This reminds me like of where the wild things are. You remember that?
Definitely, yes. This one, this thing on the bottom right, I don't know what is going on there. It's like mutated into multiple forms. It's like a Siamese monster.
It's like blowing fire and shit. Like it's wild.
Like, it's got like eyeballs on two sides of its face, but only one mouth. Like I don't know what is happening.
And some extra teeth things going on here.
Kind of into it.
I'm into it too. It's really wild. I want to upscale that one.
It's pretty intense. I
so
love
this
it.
is the
where AI goes. Like AI goes to this place of childlike wonder with like precision execution. You know, like really wild ideas, but it's also like really refined art.
A very amazing tool for iteration. Now, so I put watercolor, which is where we get the stylistic, and then colorful, which is where the palette comes from. But I mean, you can really.
Yeah, but it's so good. Like
I know.
Excellent choices for this, and
they're balanced. Like it's beautiful, but
like,
it's.
I want to make a comic about this guy. Like I feel like
yeah. So this is the magically disgruntled manifester battling a rage monster designer on top of the hot mess that is creativity. That was the prop that I put in that made that.
This almost makes me feel like I could like start writing a little script and have it like animate the slides of the script and then just like come up with my own little storyboard. Like,
you should totally do that. I'll when I send you the art, you come up with a little backstory for it. We'll post it everywhere.
This is really great. Like I just want to come up with little. I want these to be like postcards or something. Like I feel like they have merit.
Yeah, they're
to these.
They're really dope. And so like with the license for this, like you own this until there's a court case that says you don't for some reason. It's really crazy. Like look at this that face in there is fucking intense.
Like what is that? That's so mean.
That's savage. I love that. Let's play that up some. What is that? Let's upscale number 2. I just want to see where it goes. Yeah, like look at that face. I'm gonna chop all this together and just make this like legendary thing here in a bit.
Also, this looks like a fire that's gonna eat you. This like bottom right quadrant of that monster one looks like
that one.
It's like fire with teeth. It's
like
rainbow fire with teeth.
It is.
Which is kind of, a metaphor for my personality, I think.
Rainbow fire with teeth. I love that. I'm just taking little notes here. Fire with teeth. Love
yeah,
that.
tell us for that and see what we get.
Oh yeah, let's do that. We'll do. We can go 32K, and we can do. I mean, we can do photorealistic. You want to see what that looks like?
Okay. Now I'm interested.
Photorealistic rendering of a rainbow fire with teeth, and then we'll do 16:9 aspect ratio to get a better. So there's some little tricks in here that help it work better, like when you put in the aspect ratio. Oh, I didn't type in AR. Damn it. And you can break it if you don't type it in right. So AR.
As with all code, this is why I'm not a coder, because I cannot spend hours of my life looking for semicolons. Like, I'll go
Oh my
insane.
god, that's why I quit it too. Holy shit! But look at this! Oh my god, it's so awesome. That's so awesome. That's like it's like choking a chicken right here, you know?
It is. It does look like it's okay. It's kind of like a ragey SpongeBob choking a chicken.
Yeah, it is a ragey SpongeBob chicken choking.
Little ragey SpongeBob.
Oh, look at this rendering coming together. It's 50% done.
Rainbow fire with teeth.
It's hitting it right on the nose. Look at these teeth down here. It's like a lower mandible.
That's
of some
like the
creature.
lower mandible of it. Yeah, like a skull. Like, interesting.
That's some weird shit, Lenny. Yeah, I mean, so on the AI side, there's something called NeuroFlash, and there's a bunch of them. But there's AI writing prompts that, like, I was looking at, like, looking to just try to like write a story with it, and see what happens. Like, just pull ideas from the internet, like across. It's like mining the collective creative consciousness of humankind to make these things. It's really like interesting.
It's fascinating.
Wildly fascinating. I've read whole articles though that this presents a whole host of problems because we have these cultures that have dominated society and colonialism and all the shit. I mean, England basically, right? Like, but so you have that infused into all this. Now, is AI going to be reinforcing all of that and thus like pushing out all of these other cultures on a whole new scale now that's like out of control? Like these are crazy ethical conversations. You know, so I don't know.
Yep.
I figured that was up your alley to address.
Wow. It's a class by itself. Like, we have yet to even scratch the surface of the ethical implications of AI. Like, it's one of the things talking to my nephew's partner, as like I was like, what does your job actually entail? Like, what do you do on the day to day? And she's like, oh, well, I tell AI to do really, really horrible things, and then I program empathy and compassion into it.
Love that. Let's get some checks and balances.
Yeah, like you figure out where in the code it made a really horrible choice, and then you code in a decision-making process that opts for compassion, empathy, and kindness instead. And then like programs those options in, and then tells it to select those options. And I was like, that's fascinating.
It is fascinating, and we need that.
We do. We need people who are helping it to understand like where the lines are, like what is good or bad. But that's where all the best sci-fi stories start. So
I've got a couple good ideas. Very cool. All right, Lenny. Well, let's see if we can come up with like an actual line item. Then I'll let you go. I don't want to keep you all night, and then I'll work on something else. Send you a present here soon. So. And I'll send you any of these you want as well. I'll just send you a whole bunch of them. That way you can do whatever you want.
I really love this whole like rainbow watercolor weirdness that's happening. It feels on brand for me right now.
I love it. So rainbow watercolor weirdness. I like that statement. Okay. So if we had to make a piece of art. So last time we did, my buddy came up just out of thin blue air. He's a writer, so like I'm not surprised. But he was just like, all right, so we want an apex predator at a Burning Man concert on Easter Island. That was our last render, and I ended up putting that out. It came out really cool. So, but give me something wild. And I'm
trying to think, man. These ideas always just sort of spit out of my mouth and somebody attaches to them. I'm so bad being put on the spot, Carl.
Okay, well, I can build off of this piece that I already started, basically the magically disgruntled manifester battling the inner rage monster designer on top of the hot mess that is creativity. I can run with that if you like that.
I feel like that is a solid choice. Like
I like it.
I can't top something like that. Like
fair. All right. Yeah, I
That's
think it.
li-
I
I
think
mean,
it.
that's basically you just described my brain. So, like I'm
Yes.
trying to explain to my students that I became a design strategist because it was the only way that I could actually get my like anxiety brain to focus, like to like actually give it tools and resources to get things done. Like
Well,
it actually be a more effective person.
that's how you named your studio, I'm sure, right? Like Lens Peace. Like it's how you
I
found your peace.
It is. It was all about finding my peace, but and
I mean, it's a
pers-
fun little pun about a lens piece, but yeah,
it is, it's a perspective on peace.
I love it. I genuinely love it. I think your brand's amazing. So
Multi-level branding, but when it started, it was also a personal practice because I knew I wasn't there yet. And then I think once I actually got there, I was like, oh shit, I have to do this all over again. So like I had to like sort of go back and relook at things. But I mean, yeah, it was all about getting my peace back.
I love it.
Or finding a way to stay at peace with myself, and strategy became a huge component because my brain does it anyway. I just didn't know that there was a job there. Like nobody ever told me. And this is kind of why I want to work in education, and I want to like reach out to high school students. And I think there are lots of people with a lot of creative aptitude who have careers in front of them that they don't recognize simply because nobody's told them. Like they think it's about being an artist and not about being a creative. And I would really like to change that perspective because
Shift that narrative
there's
a
a
bit.
lot of creativity that doesn't mean you have to be an artist. I was told in high school that I would never have a successful creative career, that I would never be an artist. And she was right. I was never going to be an artist. It doesn't mean that I'm not a creative.
Yeah. No,
You know,
my dad had someone tell him that too. His art teacher in high school. Same bullshit. Like, why would you say that to anybody? Like, it doesn't.
well, yeah, why would you tell somebody that they're never going to like succeed at something? Like,
It's like,
why aren't you encouraging them towards the success that they could have, or like figuring out where their aptitude lives? Like, it seems so weird to just shut somebody down.
Yeah.
So I was bad at art. And then I became a graphic designer and I started winning awards, and I was like, what do you mean I'm bad at art? And they were like, no, you're amazing. Like, you're really good at this. And I was like, well, nobody told me that I could do this.
Yeah. I had that first experience when I saw Stefan Sagmeister's work. I was like, graphic design is some crazy dude with his dick hanging out and carvings in his chest. I was like, I love graphic design. Like, let's go. I can do anything. Like, like I'm not going to that level, but like, oh my god, like.
Well, I love Miami Ad School's rebranding. Now they're the Mad School
Of design. I love it. It's killer.
unconventional ideas.
Oh. That's
and
really cool.
They're like trying to inspire free creative thinkers, and I was like, sign me up. I'll help teach classes. Like,
That's awesome. And I'm
yeah,
so stoked for you, Lenny. When I saw that, I had that's why I reached out. Like we hadn't talked in a while. I was like, oh my god, hell yes, Lenny. That's
really,
exactly
really
what you need to be doing.
a really great opportunity, and I love it. And my students are super cool, and my class is like all really diverse. And it's nice to see their goals and their dreams and their reasons for doing this, and like everything that they want to get out of this program. Like, and it makes me want to help you. I'm like, I want to show up for this because I want you all to run out there and go be little badasses.
little pet project badasses.
Yeah, like go be little creative badasses. Like go art direct and go get that camera. Like, I think it's awesome.
I do too.
To see all these kids with these like dreams to doing stuff, and the audacity to like go for it, and they're appreciating that I'm actually giving them permission to be confident and bold, and they're like, oh, I didn't know that I could do that. And I'm like, not only can you should, like like, I didn't know that I could state that about myself. And I'm like, you absolutely can, and more people will respect you for it. Like trying to tell them like that they can do it. They can go and be bold and loud and creative and themselves, and that there's a market for that.
Yeah, and that in itself is a powerful, empowering moment when a creative realizes that like you have permission to be yourself. Like, get out there, get it, and don't give a fuck. The less fucks you give about what people think about your making, the better your shit is. the
Yeah.
better your shit is. Yeah, for
There's
sure.
a certain kind of freedom that came for me when people were like, "No, we love you the way that you are with your salty little sassy self." Like, and I was like,
Salty and
really?
sassy. I'm putting that
Like-
down.
I had always been told that I was too abrasive or too much, and then I found myself in a community that was like, not only are you not too much, but we want you to be a little bit more. Like, is there extra? And I was like, oh, I can give you extra. And so it was nice to like find that, to be like, oh, you're free to be all of it. You can be this really weird introvert that has a garden and loves sustainability and urban art, and like you can just be all of that stuff in one place. And I was like, this is awesome. I'm gonna make it a brand.
I love it. I think, you know what, I describe you in my head. I was like, yeah, Lennie gives all the right fucks, you know, that like it's like and none of the wrong fucks. Like, she don't give a fuck about
There's
what
an
you
article
think.
that I've been wanting to write for a long time about the reallocation of our fucks.
Yes, I love
It's
that.
not about giving more or less. It's about putting them in the right place, right? Like, it's just about making sure you're like, because everybody only gets so many of them, so we need to make sure that we're spending them wisely.
Yeah, just appreciating the scarcity of your fucks and where to apply them. Yeah.
Yeah, I just realized so much of my life's work is about the reallocation of my fucks. Like, do you give a fuck about it? Don't. Then just walk away. Like, go give a fuck about the things you give a fuck about. There's somebody there giving a fuck about it too. You can just find them. Like, if they're not giving a fuck, just instead of fighting with them about it, just go.
There's a whole there's a whole philosophy you can write about this. Yeah.
Yeah, like somebody else is gonna do it. Like, there are other people to fill that space. Maybe they'll miss you for a little bit, but they'll find somebody else. Like, that's just life. That's how this works. Like, go align yourself with where you have the most fucks, and then you'll get to live a meaningful life because all your fucks will be in the right place.
Yeah. If you don't have your fucks lined up in the right place, it can go really bad for you. So.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're giving all your fucks into a hole that you'll never get them back from.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
you can't go around doing that. Like, that's just a waste of energy. So.
Yeah.
There's a whole article in here that I have yet to write about the reallocation of our fucks, because it is at the core of all of my stuff.
And
like,
if you put all your
my
fucks in the wrong place, you just end up a miserable fuck. You know what I mean?
You're gonna burn out. Then you
Yeah.
run out of fucks, and you also don't have anything to show for it. And I know it's fake. Like, I understand that. Like, you give
This
all
is
the
too
fucks
much
you
fun.
have to give, and then you end up with nothing, and then you're like, but were my fucks even worth it? And then you have to go, like, reallocate your fucks, because you still have them, but you have this empty void in yourself because you're trying to figure out where they should go next, and was it even worth spending them in the place that you spent them in the first place? You know, like, it's this whole existential crisis that happens, and then eventually you find things to put your fucks in again, and your creativity comes back.
Boom. I love it. I'll be happy to help you edit that article when you're done writing it.
Okay, I'll let you know. I have there's a space happening, or it's actually rooted in the class that I'm teaching now, which is like strategies to get your shit together, or the reallocation of fucks.
Yeah.
Like, it's in this space somewhere of like,
Lennie, I know you don't know this about me, but my dad had this company called the Official Shit Company. Right, so my whole life I grew up with this, and the whole fucking first three, it's a pocket notebook, right? And my dad went around in the 80s interviewing people, give me a sentence with the word shit in it. So he has all these quotes in the book, but the whole thing in the beginning is a philosophy that this book is a tool. It has power, and if you use it right, it can help you get your shit together. And it's all about like dealing with shit in your life and the euphemisms and all the different. It's fucking deep and ridiculous, and it's 3 pages of like the official shit philosophy. It's so fucking good. I'll send it to you because you'll love it.
because it's inspiration. Because I've been working, like, I have run session strategies to get your shit together before, and everybody who comes to them is like, this is amazing, and I'm like, yeah, I know, it's like how I built my life. And so I'm realizing I need to turn it into more. Like, I need to make it a book. I need to make it to make it so people can participate in. So I'm doing that because I'm now understanding that this thing that I've been using on myself actually has value for more than me. Like, I'm not crazy.
None of us are wholly unique either, right? Like, no one faces struggles in a vacuum that no one else has in these big interconnected worlds that we live in, you know? So
Yeah, I just didn't realize how useful it was until I would like run these little lo-fi workshops around Atlanta, and all the creative people that I knew who came to them were like, "Oh my god, I got so much out of this." And so I just didn't understand that a lot of people lacked some of the like strategic development that design gives, because they're in different creative professions.
Yeah.
So I've had filmographers and directors and creative directors and studio owners. Like, I've had all these people show up to this stuff, and they're like, "Oh, this actually helps me get my life together." Like, it's a little bit work-life balance. It's a little bit getting yourself where you want to be. It's making sure you're staying in alignment with your goals. It's time management. Like, it's all the stuff that creative people find really hard, all packaged into like a 10-week session of like crash coursing your process with yourself and like getting real with you. And when the director at Mad School found out that I had made this, she was like, "Will you come teach our class?" And I was like, "Yeah," because I want to work with younger people. To help, because the earlier you get your shit together, the better.
Oh yeah, I mean, how much pain and suffering.
So many of us don't learn this until it's way too late. Like.
Dude, I redid my schedule 2 weeks ago, and just like I am not being productive enough, and I'm just like spinning my gears a lot of days. So I took I just blocked off every little chunk of my day. Like I've got coffee time, I've got meditation time, I've got stretching time because I'm fucking old and I gotta stretch every day, or I'm just grumpy as fuck with my back hurting and my hip hurting all day. And then I have fitness time, and then I have these are my business development times, and then I just did it, and then like now it's really like I'm getting so much more done these past like 2.5 weeks now. Because I'm actually building an entire marketing system for my business finally, as opposed to just me just talking to people and randomly getting the work we get. So I'm just trying to level all my shit up. But I had to get my shit together before I could level it up, so.
I'm doing the same thing. Like, my whole life changed. My studio flooded. I had to move it.
Yeah.
Moving 2 vintage presses, and I had to trash a decade of work when I lost it in the flood. Like,
That's devastating.
There was a whole lot of mess there. Relationship change, 23-year marriage, shifted gears in a new partnership, in a new house, started a garden, never gardened before in my life.
Killing it, by the way.
Yes, I feel like I'm crushing it.
Yeah, you are.
250 pounds of produce, and that's super satisfying. For having never done this before.
That's a massively overweight human.
Yes.
Well, not massively, but at least depends on how tall you are, I guess.
Out of like 1,100 square feet of gardening space, like a little bit more than 1,100 square feet, but maybe almost 1,200 square feet, probably somewhere between there. Which is decent for a home garden.
Yeah,
but we have a huge sunny spot. We're thinking of expanding it. We're thinking of ripping up the rest of the yard, because why not? Who needs grass? Grass.
Grow food, not lawns. Some
like
antiquated bullshit.
We're thinking of ripping up a lot of our sod and doubling our size. So that may happen next year.
Your friend Carl's in full support of that. I'll send you as many seeds as you want.
I've got a bunch of stuff. We're rebuilding the print studio. We're in the process of getting because my partner's a woodworker.
He's a what?
A woodworker.
Oh, cool.
And an audio tech. And so, he has a passion project of taking these old cabinet stereos and retrofitting them with new audio equipment and refinishing the woodworking on the outside. So, making them new, nice, sexy, but, with Bluetooth speakers that will, blow your windows open.
Can't beat that.
And so he's got a cool project that he's doing, but my graphic art can help him do inlays and things like that. So we're looking at getting a CNC machine, which we've already picked out. We know what we want. And
CNCs
that gives me the ability to take my art and turn it into relief plates. So my printmaking is completely in-house now. I have everything I need to self-produce my work. I don't have that size, which is a big thing. So in 2023, I'll reopen my print studio, and I'll actually have the ability to cut costs dramatically for the work. Make it much more affordable, because letterpress is classically very, very expensive.
Yeah, sure.
And I'll be able to make my own art. I'll be able to just go from vector to print block. So sky's the limit on how I want to do this, and that's exciting to feel like that part of my craft is coming back.
I bet.
So I have the garden. I'm gonna have the print shop. I'm gonna have my teaching stuff and my facilitation work online. Like I feel like it's a solid space to be in between all the different things. And
it sounds like it for sure.
But it's a lot of work. Like people like it's a lot of work to rebuild all of this. Like it took me 10 years to build it before, and now I've got to do it all over again.
And what a blessing that you have the health and mindset and support to be able to do it again, right? So
yeah, there's that.
But
there's
not that
also,
it's
like,
yeah.
Well, there's also like actually just having the creative confidence to know that it was just time to redo it. Like instead of feeling like it was a failure, actually understanding that it was just a process, like it's a normal part of the process.
Yeah, that's a huge step too, emotionally, right? Like there's a lot.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
Change and growth and switching, like this is just a part of how this goes, and so it makes it easier to accept it. So
sure.
That.
Yeah, totally gotta go on that journey for sure.
Yeah, it's like been a lot of change. You know, I took a job at a bakery to buy myself time and just like pay basic rent and bills and not care. I wanted a job that I wasn't responsible for.
Yeah, I remember when you did that. But you know what? You loved it, and like you threw out passion about it and talked so highly. And I mean, I feel like you brought a lot of business to them too.
For what it is, it's a great job. Like, the people are great. The environment's great. The woman who runs the company is doing everything right. Like, she's a model small business. She's not a certified B Corp, but she should be, and I keep trying to tell her to do it. Because she could totally pass the B Corp certification.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard mixed reviews about whether or not that's even like.
I don't think it's necessary for her. She's got a ton of community support. She's really like, she's done the work to be great.
Yeah.
At what she does, and she has a loyalty among her staff that I've never experienced in a food service environment.
Wow, that's saying something.
But there are a lot of people who've been there more than 3 years, 4 years. Like it's not just like, and if you ask why, they're like, "Oh, I love her." You know, like I haven't found a better place to be. She pays the living wage. She gives people health insurance. You know, she takes care of everybody. And she runs a cool stuff. And it's your job to bring joy to people's day. Like, that's your job.
Yeah.
It's a donut shop. It is our job to help people cope and help them celebrate. And if you can get your head around that and you realize what you're there for, you just want to give them the best quality moment. Like, it's about that moment. It's about that bite that they get to have that you know, brought delight to their best friend who's visiting from out of town, or just totally gave them a moment of peace after they got a divorce. Like, it could be any of these. But
God only knows. Yeah, for sure.
But it's like a thing that tethers people to a sense of comfort and their own humanity. And when you actually get to see it like play out that way, you're like, I get it. Like, it's a therapy. She runs a therapy shop. They just don't know it. They just don't know. They don't know she's providing community therapy to everybody, but she is. And she's amazing. And it makes sense because she is a therapist. She's got a master's degree.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
And
super
she
powerful.
Decided that she didn't want to counsel people's pain sitting in a chair. She wanted to have a more dynamic life, and she put herself through school working in a bakery, and so she opened a bakery. And
food is so healing, you know, especially.
There's a lot of independently creative people who have their own stuff to do. Like everybody on staff has got some other job or gig or like life of their own.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to be around a lot of really potent, creative people who, especially during COVID, like it was the safest place to be. Like it's guaranteed money. Because I learned baking is pandemic proof. And so when facilitation work fell apart and live events didn't exist anymore and nobody knew what they were doing with their lives, I was just like, well, I can just be here. And so it was a great place to be during that time. And it reminds you like the essence of how many facets of creativity there are. Like there are lots of ways to be creative. Which is why when you asked the question about music, it was like, well, what am I creating? Because different creative spaces require a different kind of jam.
Yeah, that's totally true. Totally true.
I love that this Rage Monkey is like sad. It's like a montage, right? Where you have the festival of humans and the debauchery of their rage, and then the sad monkey just being.
I'm still trying to massage this together in a way that's going to be cohesive, but
no, I love it because it's coming together really well, actually. Because this Rage Monkey is just like humans.
Yeah, I love him. He's an interesting character. This is just crazy.
I've never thought that I would get a tattoo before, but I seriously consider that one being plausible.
You don't have any tattoos, really?
Single tattoo? No, I always did piercings.
Oh, okay. I have one tattoo of my dad's signature on my wrist. I had him sign a piece of paper like the year before he died. And my dad was an artist. Like, this is all his art and shit on the ceiling and like faces back there and stuff. But I told him when I was like, all right, Dad, when you die, I'm gonna sign your masterpiece. So that was my little, homage to him. So
I have a lot of physical sensitivities, and I've always been scared to get ink embedded in my system because my skin tends to react negatively to stuff like that. So it's like never been worth the risk. But I am considering a tiny little snake.
Okay.
Because my girlfriends and I are thinking about getting matching snake tattoos.
Could be fun.
So we'll see. I might just do it as like a test to see how my skin responds.
Yeah, just a little spot. It'll probably be fine. My wife's skin is really sensitive. She hasn't had any issues. Nor my partners have ever had tattoos. Like, we're in a really small range especially for our generation, to have no tattoos is really weird. And I think to be the type of avant-garde creative person that you are, I actually was like, if I had to bet if you had a tattoo, like, I would have bet on you had a tattoo, at least one.
Yeah. My partner has threatened to get a tattoo. He's threatened to get a tramp stamp.
Love it.
As a devotion of his love for me.
Oh.
It's like part joke, part serious. I'm not sure where it lands sometimes, because he really seems committed to the idea of, because he says my love fits him like a glove, that he wants to get like the hamburger helper glove. And have love glove in script going like above it, and I was just like, man, don't.
This is getting weird quick.
Like, don't.
Honey, I know we're at the pool. I'd like it if you just keep your shirt on.
Like, please don't do this to me. Like,
that's funny.
Like, don't have any tattoos. Don't start with that one.
Yeah, that might not be the one. So.
Yeah, no, I would rather not. I love this monster action that's happening here. This is pretty fantastic.
Yeah, let me get this guy in the foreground.
I'm gonna have the dreams this evening.
You gonna what?
I'm gonna have weird dreams this evening. Like,
yeah, you're welcome.
Like, I'm gonna have these like really rainbow Technicolor kind of monster dreams.
No LSD and mushrooms needed.
Nope. Just high on life.
High on life. It's a good space to be in. Yeah, this is it's not cohesive at all yet, but we're gonna get it there. Oh, I just rendered these watercolor Atlanta skyscrapes. Let's see what these. I don't know if I like these yet, but I did.
Oh, look at those.
Watercolor render of Atlanta, colorful and shit.
We are a rainbow town.
I love it.
We changed Confederate.
What'd you say?
To be United Ave, and it was like, we changed a street here, Confederate Ave, to be United Ave.
Ooh.
As like a hallmark of our city's legacy.
Cool.
And it's actually really awesome because it ends like right at the other end of my street, and it's nice to like see the city make those kinds of changes.
Yeah. I think
because
it's
our soccer
pretty
team
cool.
is Atlanta United. And it's one of the only places I've ever been where you can see all the people, like all the different cultures of all the different people, because soccer has that kind of following. So we get all of the immigrant communities.
Oh yeah, I love.
All these come out for or soccer team, and they win. Unlike our other teams, that come close, but don't
Sure.
quite.
I've never. I love soccer. I played soccer my whole life. It was. I tore both my ACLs. I got them both fixed. Soccer is definitely my jam, for sure. So I can appreciate and I love that. Like it, no matter where you are in the world, like you can pick up and play soccer pretty much anywhere other than the United States. Like everybody will play soccer with you. Like they love soccer. So of course it's football, but that's a whole nother story. So.
What? What do you mean us just going around changing the names of things to suit ourselves and trying to get the rest of the world to adopt it? We don't ever do things like that.
Never. It's like colonialism or something.
It's like that stuff. John Oliver has this really interesting bit on museums. It's like a takedown of the British Museum specifically. And its representation of colonialism. And I was just like, yeah, those are facts.
John Oliver's fantastic. I love him.
Pretty great. I love this guy.
This guy's great.
I don't know why I'm so attached to this super sad monkey, but I think it's just those eyes. Like
it is 5x7 at 300 DPI without me touching it, like rendered from the AI. So it is indeed a great postcard.
It's a great postcard. It's the look of
you.
Disappointment. Like that, if I were a mother, that is the look I would give my kid. Like it would make you feel bad enough that you wouldn't do it again. You just be like, I'm sorry. Like
our kid did something, I don't know, it's been a couple years now, and my wife looked at him and just looked at him, and he just started crying and apologizing, and she's like, you're parenting right when all you got to do is give the kid a look, and he's backed down 100%. Like, I'm so sorry.
It's like, never mind. You know what? Out of my depth.
Yep. And it's like, hey, look, we've never hit our kid, and we don't have to hit our kid. Maybe you don't have to hit your kid. Like, if your kid respects you because you built a respectful relationship there, like, there's something there that, maybe you don't need to beat on them. Like, I don't know. But, I say that, and then I've met some kids, I'm like, holy shit. Like,
my mom would just be like...
Oh, you're cutting out. All right, you said
sometimes all it should take is a look.
Yeah, well, I mean, for sure, I think so. It just depends on the dynamic, and it can get complicated with multiple family relationships and shit and like all that. But I don't know. I don't want anyone to feel like I came at them. So who knows? We'll see this one day. This video will be around until the internet dies now, Lenny, because just archive it on my YouTube. So.
You know what? It can join the ranks. When I got the job at the bakery, I got it based off of a Google search because I had no references. Like, I talked to the owner of the company, and I was like, I've been independently employed for so long. Like, I just want this to... Literally, I just want to hide. I just need a place where I'm not responsible for anything, and I come in and I leave. And, I was very upfront about what I wanted. I was like, but, you could Google me and decide whether or not you like me. And she was like, okay, I'll give that a go. And the next time I saw her, I was like, so? She was like, yeah, I looked you up. You're fine.
Love it.
She was like, yeah, but don't tell anybody what you actually do. And I was like, no. She was like, you're way above the pay grade. So just like,
it's cute.
Could you not? And I was like, I don't care, because I don't really care if anybody knows like what I do. Like, I would rather have everybody think that I'm just average. And she was like, cool. Like, they don't need to know you've done all this. And I was like, that's fine. And over time, it like has come out. Like, everybody knows kind of what I'm up to now. But at first, it was my reputation on the internet. I was like, there are videos, articles, interviews, like,
all the things. So what is your proudest thing in your career?
What I'm doing now.
Yeah, I could see that. That's really exciting. I could, like, when you posted, I was like, Lennie is fucking in heaven at this. Like, this is the space. Yeah.
What I am about to release is what I'm gonna be known for. like the body of work that I've been working on since Path to Impact launched, which up to this point would have been my answer.
Oh, sure, yeah. Path to Impact is dope,
like,
too.
It was the thing I was the most proud of. But now I've taken that and I've made it mine. And now that's what I'm most proud of.
Good.
And I'm happy to be in a place where I'm really confident in like moving forward with that body of work and inviting other people to share in it with me and participate in that space, because it's taken
You guys
a while.
worked so hard on that, and there was so many obstacles and so much shit.
It's just bureaucracy.
Yeah, and that's
Like,
yeah.
it was like ultimately it was bureaucracy and politics that got in the way.
Sure.
And but now I'm in control of the IP and it's mine and it's my work and I'm not negotiating. Like, it's my table. So instead of trying to fight for my seat at a table, I'm owning the table and I like it better. Like,
of course.
I own the property at this point, and now when I negotiate, I'm negotiating with a stronger sense of power.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can tell, like, I'm happier. Like,
and you don't. The best place to negotiate from is where you don't need. Like, if you don't need this deal to work, like, you've got a way better operating position, way better conversations. Like, this deal is going to go through if I like it, and if I don't, then we're all good here, And that's a powerful place to get to, and a place of privilege, that it's hard to get to.
And I haven't, I've had content that is technically releasable, but I haven't had it in a format that I feel is easy for people to interact with or engage with. Like, I've done this stuff repeatedly and run into, the problems of our current Zoom culture and people not showing up, and like, it's just a mess of stuff, and I'm trying to create something that is actually more user-friendly and accessible and easy to engage in, and that's delayed some of the release of the content, but
Sure.
It's also ultimately also bought me time to really make it the best it can be and the most interactive and engaging it can be in a variety of circumstances. So it's given me a lot of space to solve a lot of problems, which I do appreciate.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And so now I'm really excited because I'm confident in it. Like, I know what the work is and I know how it's being structured, and I know what people can get out of it. And so I can just keep moving forward with it. And it's nice to know that I have that, like, that feeling that it's going to work. Like, what I'm doing is going to be successful.
I recently got into that same phase myself, which is funny. And I love that. Like, it's interesting how serendipitous that statement you just made is. Like, I've been having that same conversation with my wife and on my back porch today, even. Like, it was just like, I know it's all gonna work now. Like, I know my plan is coming together. It's super cool.
I can see it. Like,
yeah.
And it's like, it's not there yet. It's not 100%, but it's all moving in the right direction. And I just need to stay in a consistent flow with my energy and my time management and keep plugging away at it. And it is going to get exactly where I want it to be. And it'll be easy to continue to teach and participate in because it's mine. Like,
100%.
I'm not trying to please anybody else right now in my career, and I'm not trying to show up for other people's expectations, and I'm creating a system that is, up to me to govern. And I like it. It's actually really comforting. And I'm finding it to work in a flow of my life where I have the garden and I can, have the print studio, and I can also have like meaningful relationships and a healthy community, and I'm trying to keep everything in balance, but I'm almost there and it feels good. Like, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But now it's becoming easy. Like, the systems are in place, and once the systems get in place and the routines become normal, then it doesn't feel like work anymore. It just feels like a day.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's what I'm trying to get to, is to where it doesn't feel like I'm changing my lifestyle. It feels like this is just the rhythm of moving in my day-to-day life, and I'm getting closer to that.
Sure.
So
that's an empowering space to be in, though. Oh my god.
Yeah, it was. Well, yesterday it was really empowering because I went for my physical with my doctor, and she actually was like, "You seem to have a really balanced approach to your physical, mental, and emotional health. Like, I'm not used to seeing people as together. Even with, because I have an autoimmune condition and things like that, like she's
Yeah.
like, you seem to be doing really well, and I'm impressed with how you have like managed during this time. And it was just really validating to have my doctor be like, you're healthy. And I was like, thanks.
Dude,
I,
that's amazing though. That
I feel
really
healthy.
is.
I came from a lot of burnout, and then all of a sudden started to feel good again, and it was nice. I looked at all my blood work. I'm like well within healthy limits on all ranges of things. I was like, oh, I really am healthy. Like
Well, congrats, and
uh,
that's beautiful. That just means you're gonna be here for many more years to fuck up the status quo and shake things up, Lenny, and that's a beautiful thing.
somebody's got to go, you know, throat punch the patriarchy.
Throat punch the patriarchy. I love it. You were the first person that ever called me a feminist, and I was like, huh? Like, and I didn't. I don't know what I thought about it at the time because it was a little like no one had ever said that to me before. I just thought I was a dude that like was whatever, and then I really started to look into it. I was like, oh, I am a feminist, and it's funny because that just means like I don't see any real like the only real difference between men and women. I think like in terms of like obviously the biology of things of like hey, women can have babies, men can't, things of that nature. I'm not talking about gender or even gender roles, but just like yeah, like I'm 220. I'm probably stronger than most women. Like, like not all of them. Ronda Rousey could probably whoop my ass. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so, and I played soccer with a lady one time. This lady just was a monster of a human being. Like, easily 2 or 3 inches tall and trucked my ass. And I was like, it was this really calibrating, humbling moment. I was like, this woman is like just physically dominating me right now, and it fucked up my whole head. Like, it was
Yeah,
amazing.
but now you can actually claim that you're a feminist because you know that a woman can school you.
Yeah, and whatever.
Like, you're not like assuming they can't, which I've experienced quite a bit. Like, I
Oh,
love being
sure.
tested. I'm like, oh, please do that some more so that I can show you how dumb you are in a minute. Like,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
it's really common, but you don't assume that women can't.
No.
Like, you might be surprised when it happens because you haven't had the experience, but you're not like, wow, I didn't know you could do that. Like, of course you know they can do it. You just haven't met one that has been trained that way.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great perspective.
Like, you understand that the training is the point. I really love what's happening here. Like,
dude, it's fucking nuts. I love it too.
it's like terror on the town and very disappointed monkey.
I don't even know. Like, the monkey really isn't really working.
It's not really fitting. The rest of the composition really fits well
Compositionally,
together,
yeah.
turns into this gloriously burning city, but then the monkey is just sort of like the disapproving god up in the corner. But I feel like you can fit in a smaller scale.
Yeah, but it's such a glorious piece. I don't want to scale it down, but I think I can make it work right here. You are cutting out really bad now.
The monkey's gonna live on in some other form.
Right here, I think. It's going to be on top of this strange creature.
It's like the head.
Yeah, yeah.
Became this monster.
This is so crazy. I'll clean this up a little better, too.
I love it. It
Thank
is like just weird enough.
Yeah. This is glorious, ridiculous shit here.
It's so ridiculous. No, it's fantastic. Like
I
the cities, this like other monsters, like aerial monsters, like flying and setting the whole town on fire.
Good old
I love
AI.
it.
All right, we gotta find something for this corner. I'll find something. Oh, there can be like a Oh, this thing's fucking wild. Let's upscale that. Upscale 3. I'm thinking like, I'll have you help me make the decisions here. So like, I'm thinking some version of this one here, like in the top left, like dancing into the background. It's kind of got like a dancey vibe to it. I feel like
no, actually, I really liked that one because it's like got these little tentacle thing going on.
It's very like has some Stranger Things vibes. You watch that yet?
That one does. Yeah, this one has definitely got like Vecna vibes.
I'm just scrolling through some of this other shit. Dude, this is coming together so nicely. Like every fucking week I get on here, I'm like, all right, there's a phase where I'm like, tonight's gonna be the night where I just bomb it, you know what I mean? And then it just comes together somehow. It's so much fun. Ooh, these are fun. It totally reworked them, but this is the magically disgruntled manifester battling a rage monster. I didn't want to rework it though. Damn, I hit the wrong button. I wanted to upscale number 3. And then I wanted to do getting tired, my brain's not working. I had a thought. It'll come back. That already looks glorious. So stupid. Damn, I didn't expect you to commit for like the whole stream, Lenny. I love it. Thank you for hanging out with me.
It's totally good.
It's good times. Let's see. So I'll throw this guy in there when it's done rendering. I figured out how to redo the stream tonight on the fly. That was fun. It's been a little adventure so far. These it's almost 3 hours now, or 2.5. Almost, so. Okay.
I'm gonna go soon. I get to have a phone call with my person who's on tour right now.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, now I don't feel as bad because I'm not keeping you away from your person.
I was kind of waiting to see if he would actually have time. He's been gone for a few weeks, so.
Oh wow.
We sneak phone calls. Yeah, he's a touring audio engineer, and so he goes out on other people's tours.
Gotcha.
So right now he is touring with Earth Gang and the Gorillas.
Like the Gorillas?
Yeah, like the Gorillas.
Oh god! Just, if you happen to know somebody who like wants a cool animation for the Gorillas, like fuck.
Wait. I have no way to make that contact.
Oh my god.
So he's on tour. He's worked with a lot of big names. He's not nobody.
I love it.
He's one of the best audio techs in town. He's been doing it a long time, and he ended his tour with CeeLo Green and immediately jumped on this tour with Earth Gang and the Gorillas. So I've seen him all of 20 hours in the last like 4 weeks.
Oh my god.
And he comes home next week. So
oh, exciting.
We sneak phone calls whenever we can.
Well, the fact that he's your person makes him somebody in my book, Lenny. But outside of that, sounds like he's done some dope shit in his profession too. So
he's a pretty cool guy. We've actually been friends since I was 18. So we've known each other like our whole adult lives.
Oh, cool.
And have watched each other grow into our creative capacities during that time. And have made a lot of very similar decisions and have a lot of similar priorities, and we eat the same kind of diet, and we were just like besties for a while, and then eventually we were like, we should just maybe
give it a shot. Yeah.
See how this goes. And then it went so well that we were like, man, I've never had an easier relationship in my life. There's just a lot of alignment. Like, I love to be alone. He goes away a lot. It works out. So
perfect.
And we share the garden together, and it's a good match. But we know each other. Like, one of the things that brought us together was realizing that no matter what phase of life we were in, we were always the same person with one another. Like, we've only ever known one person. We've seen a lot of phases of life, but we've only ever known one person.
Oh, sure.
Like that, whoever like we are with each other is just who we've always been, and there's something about that that really resonates. And so it's nice to like actually realize that you're in love with one of your best friends.
Oh, I bet that was a beautiful moment for sure. When you,
It was.
I don't know if it was a specific moment, if there was like a night or whatever, but like, yeah, that sounds really dope, Lenny.
It's more of like a collective awareness over a period. It's like scrolling through your phone and realizing that all of your happiest memories are with the same person, like, or all of your best photos are with the same person. And after a while, being like, you're showing up in this way like a lot, and it was actually a lot of talking. It was a very intentional choice. Oh, I like this better.
Yeah, it fits a little better up there.
Like a thing on top of. Oh yeah, I like that better.
I want this to make a little more. I'm gonna do a little atmospheric perspective on this. I'm just gonna go in here. Like at some point, I have so many layers that I just have to start committing to shit and like merging them together.
I get it.
Nerve-wracking space.
I've done plenty of like photo collaging work, and eventually you just have to get a point where you start merging down.
Yeah, this is looking pretty fucking awesome. I'm not mad about this. I mean, this is the rage monster battling. What did we come up with? A magically disgruntled manifester battling a rage monster designer on the hot mess of creativity.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. This is all that.
AKA life.
AKA life. I love that.
Life.
For damn sure.
I'm really interested in how wildly creative the AI is. Like,
yeah, it's
come up with some kind of, Picasso-esque art even, like.
You'd be surprised how well it does like photorealism too, which is a whole nother, like, it's just fucking crazy, Lenny. Like, I can't even begin to tell you.
Me.
What was that?
I said it's fascinating to me.
Yeah, it totally is. Needs a little more texture to it. We've definitely ruined all the surprise. Just hanging. We're doing it now.
I'm about to let you go.
Oh, it doesn't matter to me at all. I love it.
It's actually been really fun watching this come together. Like, I haven't had the experience of it. I've heard about it and I've seen examples of it, but I haven't actually like been a part of the process of seeing anything come out of it. So
I don't know if anyone's doing it like this. Like, maybe?
I don't think anybody's doing it like this with a podcast. Like, there's definitely some appeal here. Like, you're targeting a very specific segment of the market of like.
Hopefully, yeah.
With creative people and make this weird piece of AI art while we do it. Like, I really dig the format that you're going for. There's a lot of potential here. Trying to tell my students that like creative people don't mind talking to other creative people. Like, like telling them like if they reached out to people that they admire, careers that they admire, and asked for a conversation, that they would be surprised how often someone says yes, and they were like, yeah, and I was like, yeah, they're just humans.
Yeah, that's huge. That's amazing advice, Lenny. That really is.
Like you can reach out to them on LinkedIn and you can send them an email and you can ask for a Zoom call or a conversation. Like, you can actually just reach out to them and connect, and you will be amazed at how often they say yes and they give you a way to schedule time. And I was like, you want to get better at your career, start making these contacts, put your intentions out there, tell them what you really want and what you're after, and like watch it unfold. And they were all like, oh. So yeah, just like go talk to people.
Case in point on that, Lenny.
Like, I say yes to almost every podcast I've ever been asked to, like any kind of like interviewing space or talk space like this. I always say yes because you never know what's gonna come out of it. Like,
yeah, you never know who's watching their shit and like all the different things, for sure.
And it's always interesting. Like, and I really, when you told me what you were doing with this, I was like, well, that's new.
It's new and innovative and exciting.
It's I like it. Like, it's given me something to also engage in while we're talking, right? Like, it's not just talking back and forth. Like, there's this thing happening in the middle.
Yeah,
It's
for
also
sure.
in my psyche in a way that I'm like a little like I'm like, ooh, that checks. Like, presented by this art, and that's a little interesting to me too.
Yeah, that experience in itself has got a whole other vibe. Like, how is the AI like really capturing this just for some prompts from our conversation?
How
And it's
does it know?
interesting. Yeah, it's so interesting. Like, what kind of patterns and things will come up as I'm doing this, and how like all my guests will feel. Like, this is only the second time I've done it like this, you know. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds.
I dig it. I dig it. This is fine art at its best.
So, something like that. I never take my own shit too serious either, which is fun. I think it just.
Oh, I don't think we had a whole conversation today about laughing at yourself, like in class.
Oh, it's the best.
That's essential. Like, if you can't laugh at yourself, you're gonna have a really hard time in this profession.
Yeah, my dad used to have a great saying that, like, you know, you never take shit too serious. Nobody's getting out of this journey alive. You know, so like nothing's too serious. Like, it doesn't matter. He's got cancer. We're joking about it. He's laying down. He's literally fucking dying. We're joking about it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's all good. You know, it's interesting.
Yeah, one of my students said that they really, because I was talking about weaknesses, and they were like, "Oh, well, I feel like I'm always just racing to the like a deadline," but I realized there's not one. Like, I'm striving for something that's going to take time no matter what, so I don't have to crush myself to do it. And I was like, that is a very important lesson to learn. I was like,
oh my God, it is.
it's like, because 80 years is 80 years, you know, and I'm not even close to touching on 80 years, so I can just take it a day at a time. And I was like, that is a really wise thing to understand about this whole game. Like, you're never going to get to an end. You're just going to keep growing. So you might as well just put yourself in a mindset of constantly learning and growing. Like, instead of trying to
100% agree.
And it was just nice to see him come out with that kind of wisdom. And I was like, yes, like giving all the poet snaps. Like,
expand your little mind, young grasshopper.
had some really wise students in my class. Like, they're pretty amazing. So I'm excited to get to like grow alongside them and see the kinds of things their brains come up with.
Yeah,
like this. Like,
which
I
is
love.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think because you're in such a school that is so well known and has such a broad, just a remarkable reputation, right? Like, it attracts some of the best and the brightest, right? Like, I was in, like, I went to these magnet schools when I was a kid, like for math and science, and then I was in like the honors college at ODU. So it's kind of like the subsect of like, hey, these are all the kids that are either like really smart or try really hard or some combination of the both. But you'd be impressed, like, it's in those communities, like, there was so much really cool ideas and insane things that I never would have experienced somewhere else without like bringing the best and brightest together, which, you know, is a double-edged sword, right? Because now you don't have those kids around the other kids as much, influencing them and helping make them better. But it's just an interesting situation now. Like, we're all almost 40, and like, my friends are like inventing biotech, and they're pilot. Like, one of my friends has his pilot's license as CDL. He's an emergency room doctor, and he got a full ride to medical school. Like, holy shit! Like, you know what I mean? And that's just like one of the people I went to high school with. And some other guy invented a bunch of medical tech, and like one guy like revolutionized SEO, like retired at 32. Like, it's like stupid.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's all this stuff is just done by people who wake up and do shit.
Exactly.
Like, you just got to figure out the kind of shit you want to do, and you got to wake up and do it. Like, it's really thing. Like, it's not harder than this.
Right? Yeah, that's
in the time, put in the effort, put in the learning.
Yeah, and be methodical, right? Like, that's something I skipped a lot. Yeah, the constant vibing.
I was a lot more intuitive when I first figured it out.
Yeah. For sure.
But yeah, like have a process, have a plan, work, like chip away at it, and eventually you get there.
That's 100%.
Eventually you wake up and realize like stuff that used to be hard isn't hard, and you know, things you used to struggle with or have to look up instructions for, you just know how to do. And you know, your time gets cut down, your efficiency grows, and you just become more competent in general. And so when someone says, hey, can you do this? You're like, yeah, sure, I can do it. Or no, I don't want to.
I was so panicked when I first started live streaming to that point. Like panicked. Like I was just like so nervous. Now I don't even, like, I just roll it. I don't give a fuck. I'm just having fun, you know? And it's the same thing. Like I just get it now.
Yeah, like you develop that process for it, but you have to go through it a few times. You have to have those weird tech hiccups and those awkward moments and those learning curves. Like you just have to do it. Like you can't anticipate all of that stuff before it happens. And no matter how good you get at it, you're still going to have the internet coming in and out, or, you know, something hiccups. Like there's still no guarantee, so you might as well just go for it, because something's probably still going to go wrong. Like,
yep.
And just go with it anyway. Make it the best that you could make at that time, and get everybody comfortable with the fact that, like, everybody's just making it up.
Yeah. No, that's the big thing that I took away from some of my mentors. Like, everyone is just making it up. Like, there is no, like, path. I was looking for, like, let me follow the map, you know? It's like, there's no fucking map. You just do it.
Yeah. Everybody in my class, like, I want to make good work. And I was like, can we qualify this statement? And they're like, what do you mean? And I was like, what is good? Did anybody come in here to make bad work? Is anybody trying to have, like, a meh portfolio or a so-so portfolio or a half-assed? Like, no, none of you came in here to do shitty work. So instead of saying, I want to make good work, like, let's qualify that. What is good? And they were like, authentic, relevant. And I was like, yeah, these are real words. Like, these are words that carry meaning. Like, when you're talking to people about what you want, don't say good. Like, what does it even mean? And they were all just kind of like, oh. And I was like, how does that compare to bad? Like, who
kids
decided?
are lucky to have you, Lennie. They're lucky to have you. You're doing a service to the creative community. It's a beautiful thing.
And it was just nice to see them all be like, oh, right. I was like, nobody's going to be like, hey, I'm really striving to make bad work.
I was good. I was hoping to really do some just straight trash this week, you know?
Yeah. I was like, you can make a stick figure good work as long as you're thematic and consistent with your execution. It could be the brand. And they were like, oh. And I was like, what qualifies bad? Is it cheap drawings? I know a lot of people doing some really cool stuff with some really simple illustrations and really simple line drawings. Like, it doesn't take complexity to make it good. It takes the ability to communicate to make it good. How well are you communicating the idea? And they were just like, oh, because some guys like, oh, well, I do these stupid little doodles. And I was like, are they stupid? Or could you actually make a system out of them and then turn them into a saleable product? Because anything goes. And they were all just like, oh, right. It's like, there's no right or wrong.
I think that's the struggle for a lot of people.
It's just how well you package it and sell it, how well you convince people that you understand what you're doing in the way that you created it. Like, it's not about it being a specific quality.
Yeah, it's just delivering on the intention. Does it?
It's just delivering the story on the intention and doing it consistently enough that you create a style out of it.
Yeah.
And if that's style, then nobody's going to tell you it's good or bad. It's your style. It's your brand. Like,
yeah, like
it's irrelevant to that. Like, then don't support it. If you don't like it, then go somewhere else. Go be around brands that, like, you do like. It's
100%.
There's no right or wrong. You can't fail this unless you just give up. And that's what I love about, like, this space, because they come out with these qualifiers, and it's like, yeah, but is that even real?
Right. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful conversation.
Like a lot of times you just have to, like, be consistent enough in your shittiness, or consistent enough in your goodness that people understand what they're getting when they hire you. Like, that's the point.
Yeah. It's like, have you seen a Banksy piece that was, like, artistically, like, mind-blowing? No, it's conceptually mind-blowing. Like,
conceptually
the brand.
Mind-blowing.
Yeah, artistically it's like, meh.
Look at a lot of the stuff people are doing on Instagram. There are some really smart, creative people on Instagram doing really simple work. really
Yeah.
simple illustrations in like short segments of time in order to communicate really profound and honest and relevant ideas to people. Um, People using puppets, people using like there's one guy who like uses a cheetah puppet and does like a instructional cooking show and stuff. Like it's not just cooking, but he'll like teach you how to make tomato soup with a cheetah puppet. It's hilarious.
That's cute. So
It's
there's
really
a Adobe character animate that literally like rotoscopes over top of you. Like you can even do it live. So some people that don't want to be on camera for a Twitch stream has this thing pulling in a feed, and you're talking, it's moving, it's mapping your facial features all from a camera. It's crazy. So he might be using that technology. That's what made me think of that. So
no,
I kind of I'm really liking this. I think I need like
I
a
really
water.
love this.
I think I'm almost done, honestly.
Yeah, no, I think you're almost done.
Color, moon, and stars. So I don't know if you noticed, but I threw one of my dad's paintings in the background. This is my dad's stuff. And then, so this is just like, I have like, the same shit on the ceiling, but this is like a little one. So I always, like, part of my little brand here is just honoring my father as just finding a little way to incorporate some of his creativity and everything I'm making.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It didn't take away from it at all. I think it added some
no, I think it adds
texture.
it adds texture to the background.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I think that this was totally worth it. Like
Thanks, Lennie. Yeah, it's fun because I have no fucking idea where this journey's gonna take us by midnight, right? So, and here we are. It came out.
That's what
cool.
creativity's all about. Like you're not supposed to know. You're supposed to know where you're trying to go, but you may not end up there. That's half the fun.
It is half the fun, right? Like it's just fun. It's fun. I want people to be happy, and I want people to express their creativity, and human beings are innately creative. Like, you've never met a child that isn't trying to create some shit, isn't telling you a story, isn't being some form of creative. So when we, like, rip that out of our culture and make it not important or the first thing to get cut in any budget, like, there's something that happens to us that, like, literally affects our mental health. And I think that there's a lot to be analyzed there for sure. So
it's kind of squashed out of us. Well, I really appreciate this journey.
Yeah.
I learned this today, and
sweet, me too.
Now I want to play around with AI artwork and see what I can make it do.
Yeah, you get 25 images for free, and I think it's like $10 a month for 200, and then unlimited for 300 or for $30. Excuse me. So okay. I mean, you can't go wrong with it. There's tons of softwares out there. Midjourney's my favorite because of the ease of use. Like, you don't have to download any software. Like, this is all you can do it on your phone. You can do it on wherever, and then like it's all stored on a website. You can just download it whenever you want. It's super convenient. They're doing something here. I'm really fascinated to see what happens the first time this gets litigated as to whether or not people own the intellectual property rights, and if like, hey, was this taken too much from this artist, and if so, like how much is there like an algorithm that we have to run on images eventually that says like whether or not like this is derivative enough of anyone else's artwork, and like I don't know, it's just fascinating, all the legal and business implications.
It's probably going to land in a space where like remixing culture lands, right? Like I've had a lot of conversations with my partner about just audio remixing. Because a lot of times we'll hear a track that's using the same like instrument sample with different vocals on top, or all the sampling culture that goes on, especially in hip-hop music. And I was like, this must be a legal nightmare, like the legality of navigating all of this intellectual property law. And he was explaining to me how different things get allocated, and I was just like, oh, okay, this is a slightly different rule set than I was understanding before. But it really is all about rights appropriations, and I feel like this is going to end up in a similar space of like remixing culture of like how we sample and make a derivative work.
Yeah. And then really coming up with something very, very, right now it's a little subjective. Like, does this steal from the brand identity of somebody else in a way that costs them something? And if it does, is it an intentional parody or not? Because if it's an intentional parody, then it's okay. But if it's you just trying to steal their special sauce, then it's illegal. But I think there's a whole lot. I mean, we could go down a whole rabbit hole of NFTs, but there's a whole lot about NFTs that really could mitigate some of these issues, especially when you get into music. Okay, well, like, you know, if you create this song, well, we say 20% of the royalties of this goes to the person who made the beat and 10% to this, and boom, 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 boom. Then it's all systematic, right? Now there's nobody being held to integrity and accounting and bookkeeping because it's all written in the blockchain into royalties on a smart contract. And I mean, I can get into the weeds of that, but imagine that overlaid with this AI technology. Now there's some interesting things that can go down, you know? So.
I'm sure there are lawyers who are already foaming at the mouth over this stuff. Like,
oh, I'm sure too.
Entire groups of lawyers that are just like, let me at it. You know, like.
Yeah. It just sounds painful to the rest of us.
Yeah, no, it sounds like a horrible life for me, but I know that there are people out there that are like super excited about the opportunity to litigate around this topic. So, you know, we'll see soon enough, because if there's anything we love to do, it's sue people. So,
oh my God. Yeah, America and sue culture. Every time I see like a burning, scalding hot cup of coffee, it says "caution hot" on the side. I'm like, we've de-evolved. Like we're
like I feel the same way. I'm like, if you actually have to explain that your cup of coffee is hot, then we have problems. Like, you should be more upset if your cup of coffee is cold. Like, yelling at somebody that your coffee is hot, it seems counterproductive to existing. You should yell at people when your coffee is cold. Like,
yeah.
Unless you're ordering cold coffee, unless you get a nice cold brew. If you get a cup of coffee that's not hot,
all these first world
levels for that.
Hey, total sidebar. I don't know why this popped in my head. What is the name of that strip club we went to? Because I tell stories about it all the time. That is just ridiculous.
The Claremont Lounge.
What was that?
The Claremont Lounge.
The Claremont Lounge. Glorious. It was
historic. Yeah, I actually tell people that.
Oh, I lost you.
Because people are like, "Oh, I'm here to."
You're back. You're back.
Yeah, I tell people that story too, because they ask about like some of my favorite, you know, AIGA experiences, and I'm like, definitely when I took some of the national board out to the strip club.
Dude, it was so cool. It was
and
so
like the nice strip club. But,
like, no, it was so real though. This is like
the community strip club.
Yeah, it was real. That was a real ass cultural experience. I'll never forget it, and I thank you dearly for it.
Real people up in there. No, it was actually really lovely. It was like, this is the life. Like, that's actually the night that I knew I made it. I was like, if I can get away with this, I can get away with this.
Dude, I was so impressed. I was like, yo, they're doing
really
this.
I felt really on brand. I had like the t-shirt with the torn off sleeves
and your like magical unicorn hat with the rainbow on it.
A unicorn hat. I was really feeling myself that day, and I was like, it was a real win to take like the national leadership out to one of the seediest spots in town.
And we all massively enjoyed it.
And
I feel
everyone
like
was like, this is the best. Like, I really got to see a part of everybody that was like, there you are. I know you.
Again, just a
people in your suit.
yeah, such a human experience. Again,
everybody's trying to be like, I'm a professional, and I was like, not here, you're not. Nobody gives a shit about you.
Nobody's a professional here.
Nope. Have some drinks and have a good time. It was really nice. It was really nice to see that kind of response come out of people, and I appreciated those moments because it's fun.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Also to be asked, like, everybody was like, hey, Lennie, we want you to take nightlife because we want you to, like, steer people into the weirdest parts of town. And I was like, you got it.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Like, don't you tell me what to do. But to be thought of that way, like, you're going to be the person who takes them to local spots where they can actually experience real Atlanta culture. And I was like, aw, y'all really do love me.
That was super dope for
It
sure.
was a highlight. It's when I knew that I was seen for who I was, and no matter what I did, I would win. So
Yeah, what a beautiful feeling.
yeah,
What an empowering feeling.
It was a high note to end on, end my AIGA life on.
I'm still the president in my chapter. I'm trying to fade it out.
Godspeed, friend. I have liaisons to my chapter. We're looking at doing some work together. They're still big supporters of me, so.
Oh yeah, and they should be.
And I'm going to be probably doing some work with them.
Good. I just joined the Graphic Artist Guild as well, so fuck it. Let's do all the things.
I think I'm probably going to end up in some. Actually, I'm slowly moving over into the service design world.
Okay.
Because social impact and service design have a lot. And I'm actually working with a team of 3 service designers.
I could see that.
Educators. And we're working on doing some programming together where our skill sets overlap and we co-facilitate.
Okay.
Which is exciting. And I'll be doing stuff with them soon. But they're all local, so it's like Atlanta-based stuff.
Nice.
We're really actually trying to do legitimate social impact work here, so we're getting a little group together going there. So I will be moving into that space.
Okay. That sounds exciting.
It is exciting. You know, my tethers are always changing. The thing I love about creative strategy is that it's not tied to any one place. I'm not bound to a specific medium. I'm bound by my idea to conceptualize an idea and pull together a team to, you know, make it happen. Like, I don't have to be great at it. I just have to know who is.
Yeah, no, for sure. Just leadership and networking and connections. That's half the battle sometimes, right? Like, I'm not, up until this year, I hadn't done art myself since design school when I graduated in 2008, right? So, I mean, that's not fair. I was the artist for our team for a while, but now there's 10 of us. So, you know, I felt like I got back into my creative groove making shit. And then now I found AI and like, now I can really do some shit. Like, I don't know. I'm so excited.
No, it's awesome. I haven't made art in like 3 years, and I know I will again, but there's a part of me that feels like it died forever. Like, the super dramatic part of me is like, oh, it'll never come back. But, like, the reality of me is like, I want to start again. Like, I'm innately creative. I'm not in a place where those are the tools that are out right now. Like, it's just not where my brain is, but...
Yeah, focus on what's in front of you.
Some part of my heart's like, will you ever make another piece? You know, and I'm like, yes, I'll make another piece. Like, calm
down. Yeah. The inner drama. I understand.
Yeah, I'm known for being a little dramatic, but it's really just for hyperbole, you know? It's for emphasis. I'm not actually that emotionally attached. I just like to pretend that I am.
I don't know why when you did the little thing, it reminded me when we were all eating at that place at like 3 a.m. or 5 a.m, and you did like your like white Southern belle thing. Like, it was so funny. I do declare that it was cute. Anyways.
I just gotta clutch my pearls. Yeah, I have a lot of characters on the inside of me. Only some people bring them out.
Sure.
I've recently found like a Jersey dude somewhere in there.
Jersey dude.
Mafia. Yeah, like an Italian Jersey man.
Oh, glorious.
Like super early in the morning when I was at the bakery, and the guy that I was working with was like, "Who was that guy?" And I was like, "Dude, we're only beginning to find out." Like, you know, like,
he's a newcomer.
I was like, that character just landed on me now. So it's fun to let them shine. I'm around a lot of people. Like, we're improvising all the time. We're always feeding off of each other's creative energy, and it's amazing to be in a space where there's that much big personality. I'm I'm a super introverted person, and I really love to be alone, but I also have like a really big personality, and so that conflict has always been a little bit of a struggle. And so I had to surround myself with theatrical people because they're the only people that I can like be that person with, and they get it.
That does sound like a wild dichotomy to live inside of.
It's
Like
weird.
I'm. Sorry, go ahead.
I love being alone most of the time, but my personality is actually one that's really like bold and gregarious and vivacious. I just
Understood. Yeah, I'm a true form extrovert. Like I leave conventions, like where I met you, like on a high of just like, oh my god, all the people and the friends and everything was exciting and I love all this stuff. And like other people, like that drains them and like it.
Oh,
and,
I was
like,
exhausted.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do anything for like 5 days. Like I had to recover. Like I can do it, but then I can't talk to people forever.
Yeah, my wife's more like that. Like she could do it, and is like, it's funny. I think I told you that a bunch. Like you guys had a lot of parallels for me, just as like just badass women. So it's cool.
I mean, I can get it done, and I can play and party and have a blast with the best of them, right? Like I'll do the karaoke, I'll dance with you, I'll do whatever. I don't care. I will show up with 110%, and then as soon as I am done, don't expect to hear from me for a while, because I probably won't answer my phone. Like,
love it.
I go into a hermit mode so deep that only I decide when I come out of it. And, it's a little problematic when people want you to be on all the time. And you're like, no, I was on last weekend. Like, you don't get to have it all the time. Like, go away.
It's a special occasion. Like, yeah. I love it.
That's on my tap to turn on and off, not yours.
I love it. I love it.
All of my closest friends know me as someone who can actually be incredibly quiet and not talk at all.
Well, I haven't met that Lennie yet, but I've also only been around you in situations where you were trying to be on, as it were. So
yeah, like but then I get around other people who are capable of being on, and I will absolutely just let them take the show. Like I don't need to do that, and they all know that I love it. I love it when they like take over and they become the spectacle. And then I can just like tap out and not it's nice to be around other people who are like animated enough that they can carry the torch.
For sure, where you don't feel obligated, you just chime in when you feel like it's a good space for you.
I can be completely invisible and it works.
Lennie, we made some art together. Look at this fucking crazy shit.
I really do love it. I love what happened in the sky up here with the moon and everything. Like that's really solid work.
Yeah, I just flow. Was just flowing, as
yeah,
they say.
but you nailed it. You nailed it. And now I know what my post-apocalyptic world looks like.
This is so fucking cool. What do we have here? So hold on. What's the prompt again? I gotta find it. It is a magically disgruntled manifester at war, or we're battling a fuck. I gotta find it. I got it somewhere. I'll put it out when we post about it. But I'm thoroughly pleased with this. Holy shit! Way to go.
With it, I love the color.
Look at it. It's just beautiful.
It's pretty fantastic.
The AI.
This might be getting like printed and framed. Like this is pretty great.
Love that. I will send it to you. Yeah, I'll print it for you and send it to you, and I'll sign it too. I'll give you the one of one official signed print that no one else will ever get. Like, I mean, we'll have them on the print store, but it won't be signed and written the official one of one print on it. So.
Yeah, I love it. I think this is awesome.
You want an NFT of it as well? Would you like me to break you into the NFT world? I'll teach you all the prerequisites to me sending you an NFT.
I wouldn't mind learning about this world. Several people have told me that I should do it because I do have digital art. They're like, why haven't you broken into this space? I'm like, because I don't know.
So, I'll teach you about it. Not right now because I'm tired and we're wrapping up here. But I what I do on my studio is I've taken all my dad's artwork and I've made beautiful digital reproductions of them. So I am basically immortalizing his entire collection that I possess in the blockchain as NFTs. And if you buy the NFT, I give you the original work of art. So it's basically creating an actual traceable record of the sales and distribution of the NFTs, which gives value to all the artwork. And then you also get the original asset. Now, I haven't figured out the best way to connect them, but there is a way where we could set that up where like I can put a QR code on the back of it and the NFT will not transfer to the new wallet till the new wallet address holder scans the barcode, but I'm not doing that yet. But I say all that to say everything in my studio has a one-of-one original, either if it's digital art, it's going to be a one-of-one original print with a one-of-one NFT, and I try to make sure that those, at least out of the gate, go to the same person. So
I actually really like that idea.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's a good way of doing it. Like, I appreciate that there's also like a solid artifact that goes along with it.
Yeah, and it's basically like a certificate of authenticity. Like, I own the NFT of this, and here's the original piece of work to prove that. So,
you know what? I would love to have a conversation with you sometime about NFTs. Let's look into that. But until then,
okay.
Thank you for this. It was lovely to connect with you again.
Oh my, yeah, same.
Incredible piece of art that feels like something out of my subconscious.
I didn't do any drugs to make this either, which is remarkable. So
I didn't have any drugs to talk about all of this. So like, here we are.
Here we are.
Coming up with crazy. Creativity, yay.
Well, Lennie, thank you so much for joining. It was such a riveting conversation, and it's always fun to catch up with you. And yeah, hit me. I'll send you my calendar link. Let's schedule an offline call, and we can talk about NFTs and whatever else you want.
Yeah, I'd love to know more. Thank you for this, and we'll talk soon.
All right, and everybody check out Lennie's stuff. Len's Peace, LENSPEACE. That's your handle in a lot of places, right? And then Lennie Gray Mowris. That's LENNIE GRAY. There we go. MOWRIS. And you can connect with her on LinkedIn and everywhere else. And she's super awesome. So if you need any wonderfully manifested, socially impact type of things, check out her work and definitely give her a call. So, thanks, Lennie.
Thanks. I'll talk to you later, Carl.
See ya.
Bye.
Good night. Whew. All right, friends. I am going to wrap up the stream from here. Let's see if I can make this thing work. No, it's not pulling my face in anymore. Anyways, that was super fun. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Love to see you all again next week. And have a good night. Good night over here, everyone. Thanks for popping in. It was fun. Check out the recap. You can go onto Twitch and see the art I was doing. I'm also going to post them to YouTube. And I'm going to start having clips come out. I just do this Facebook stream over here so you guys are like, hey, what's Carl doing? And then jump over to my Twitch stream. So hopefully that's working for a few of you. Take it easy.